Football on the Big Ten Network is presented by Marathon. Here come the Maryland Terrapins for their home finale. It's senior day, and in town, the Iowa Hawkeyes here at CQ Stadium. College Park, Maryland, a must-win game for the Terps if they want to go to bowl season for the 4th straight year. Iowa is already ticketed for the postseason for the 12th straight year. Yogi Roth, Guy Haberman, Rhett Lewis down on the field. So it's a must-win game for the Terps, Yogi. The challenge is they're playing a team, Iowa, that makes its hay in November.
They make life just challenging with the style in which they play. But what you love about this game is both teams know the importance, the sense of urgency to get back on track, to get a win amid adversity, because both teams are dealing with a little bit of that.
This game's got everything. We have two of the best players in the country, and we have one of the most unknown players in the country. Jackson Stratton, he came into the game 2 weeks ago off the bench. He's the 4th quarterback on the depth chart for Iowa. He's played less than 45 career snaps. He's a walk-on in his 3rd year, his 1st year here, and he's making his first career start.
And it's every quarterback's dream, right? Growing up in Northern California, dreaming of playing in the Big Ten. Took a little while, a different route to get here, but he's here now, and he can absolutely spin it. They talk about he's got the best arm in the room. It'll help the passing game if they could run the rock. And to your point, Guy, they got one of the best backs, if not the best back in America, in Caleb Johnson, and he does it in a variety of ways. He's got power. He can explode through a hole. He's got the speed to pull away. And any time this team needs a productive play, they go to number 2. And he understands he's got to carry the load. We talked to him this week. He cannot wait to bear that responsibility.
He's a semifinalist for the Doak Walker Award. Maryland, they've got a semifinalist for the Bolitnikoff Award in receiver Ty Felton.
Well, they're going to continue to feed him the rock today. 86 grabs, as you see. What's so impressive, over 50 of them have gone for at least a first down. So when they need to have it, they're finding number 10. Expect Maryland to be very spread out today. Wouldn't be shocked to see a little bit of tempo with them offensively. He and Billy Edwards, this is a combination. They feel really good about each other. Senior day for Felton. Billy Edwards walked out on senior day. These two are connected. Expect to see them a lot this afternoon.
And he's got to help his quarterback through some adversity today as well. For more on that, let's go down to the field and Rhett Lewis.
Yeah, you guys talked about Ty Felton, one of the seniors honored today, but was really a late bloomer in this program, and it was an improved confidence that really unlocked his elevated production. Speaking of, no quarterback in this conference has been more productive on a game-to-game basis than Billy Edwards. Leads the Big Ten in passing yards per game, but guys, Billy is banged up. Chief among his ailments is a thumb injury on his throwing hand. Had it wrapped when we talked to him on Friday. He will wear a glove today. Only practiced once during the week, but really had to take advantage of those mental reps, and that's something he's familiar with, having spent 2 years in this program as the backup to Talia Tungavailoa. Mike Loxley told me just before the game that the thumb injury really did limit the way that Billy Edwards wanted to throw the ball last week, so something we will be watching today.
Maryland won the toss and chose to defer. Mike Loxley, it is not out of the realm of possibility that they can make it to bowl season for the 4th straight year. They've won 3 bowl games in a row. 4s in a year. 4 straight has only happened once in Maryland's history. Kirk Ferentz on the other side, his 26th year. If he wins out today, the season finale and the bowl game, he'll tie Woody Hayes for the most wins in Big Ten history. 205 is that total.
And tremendous respect for one another. We met with both coaching staffs, whether it's the rebuild here at Maryland or the consistency at Iowa. Both staffs have tremendous respect for one another, and there's a common name among both staffs, I'm sure. People know watching this game.
That's right. Brian Ferentz, the former offensive coordinator, son of Kirk, is now on the Maryland coaching staff. Mike Loxley joked this week, I hope he's not a double agent. I guess we're about to find out. Wind gusts of up to 28 miles an hour today, hovering around 14 miles an hour. And right now, Maryland's going to kick off with the wind at their tail. Jack Howes, this may come into play later today. During warm-ups, the wind was carrying the football in this direction and knocking the ball down, as you might imagine, in the other. The very dangerous Caden Weigent is back deep for Iowa. He'll let it fly. And so here you go, all the way from Mission Bay, La Jolla High School in San Diego. First career start for the walk-on Jackson Stratton. A rare week for him. He got to be the #1 quarterback this week in practice, coming off the bye the week before as well.
I just love the confidence that he played with when he got into the game 2 weeks ago on a Friday night in LA at the Rose Bowl. Dreamt of playing in the Rose Bowl there in unique circumstances, but now to your point, he's the guy. No surprises. He knows the calls that are coming. He can hear his offensive coordinator, Tim Lester, in his headset, and they plan on cutting it loose with this young man because of the arm talent that he has.
Gives it to Caleb Johnson to start this game, and Johnson is able to get a couple yards where maybe there were none for all of his prolific carries. That's also one of his great skills, turned 0 into 2 on first down.
And it's important to note, even for up front for Iowa, Jennings Dunker not going to go today, so Nick DeYoung is going to go at right tackle. Not that big of a drop-off guy. They love rotating that group. Talking to the staff, they don't feel like there's any drastic change. Actually really happy, though, around the health of the tight end position as you see them in that wing formation to the top of the screen.
#1 rushing offense in the league because of this guy and an offensive line that's been fantastic. There's a first down for Johnson, running behind an offensive line that, as a group, a semifinalist for the Joe Moore Award.
Yeah, and here's the point. Nick DeYoung and company, just look at this right side. It's so impressive. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, bodies on bodies. That's 4 great blocks, and this is what Iowa does so well, Guy. And you see them just continue to bleed the play clock, continue to run the football, and I still think, you look at this bunch formation, they'll feed #2, but I don't think they're afraid to throw it a little bit today either.
Stratton has a very strong arm on a windy day. He cuts it loose, and he connects with Jacob Gill on his first attempt of the day.
You know, whenever you're a young quarterback, you want to have a little bit of motion because it tells you the picture, right? Man or zone. Zone coverage, nobody flowing or following with Jacob Gill. An easy read for the quarterback. I think we'll see a lot of this. Half-field reads with Jackson Stratton, just to have a really clean picture for this young quarterback.
Addison Ostrenga, the tight end who just went in motion, he's been beat up. They're happy to have him back today. And Johnson finds his way very near the line to gain, but shy. And it'll be about 6 inches to go for a first down for Iowa. Maybe less, actually. 5 inches?
He gets the ball right here, yeah.
Here's Johnson, and he's got the first down.
So if you're a Maryland fan, you're saying, okay, you got the 4th-string quarterback in, a walk-on QB. You got one of the best running backs in America. Let's just stack the box. They have as many players in red jerseys down near the line of scrimmage as possible, and that will be a part of the game plan. You'll see the safeties tight towards the line of scrimmage. Dante Trader, he's the leader in the back end, but you still have to play discipline. Iowa has the ability to take shots down the field. Here they line up in a pistol formation.
With Jazzy and Patterson in the game, giving Johnson a rest, and it'll be Patterson to take the carry, and he gets 4 yards on the second effort. Let's take a look at today's Impact Players, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance. Yogi?
Well, Caleb Johnson, no surprise there, and Gil, we've seen them involved in the first 5 plays of this game. On the other side, it's Jordan Phillips. We're going to talk a lot about this nose tackle, transfer from Tennessee. A bunch of NFL scouts down on the sideline that I know Rhett Lewis was talking to. He's a big reason why they are here, as well as Ruben Hippolyte, the 5th-year senior catalyst for this Maryland defense.
Whistles and a timeout.
Starts timeout, Maryland. They're first of the half.
Tim O'Day, our referee today.
On the field.
And Maryland takes a timeout on defense. And so we'll step aside before this 2nd and 7 just underway in College Park. Let's take a look at today's team comparison, sponsored by Safe Light. Iowa in gold, 1st in rushing yards per game in the league. The Terps, look at their gold 1 ST, 1st in league in passing yards per game. 7th play of the drive to open the game for Iowa. And it's been a lot of Caleb Johnson so far. He gets it here again. Right up the alley for a first down.
Is a really nice job just in the scheme from Tim Lester. Keep an eye on this motion right here. You'll see it from the receiver, from right to left, just kind of kicking out defensive ends. Really impressive there. I think anytime you can add the tight end to the run game guy, you're just adding an extra gap. It can be really challenging. And here you go, next snap. Spread it all out for this young quarterback.
Caleb Johnson comes back in motion. And Stratton, long throw through the wind, and there's Jacob Gill with his second catch of the day, and that is another first down. 10 yards.
I'll just keep going back to it. Anytime you give any quarterback, especially a young guy, a clear picture, right? Not once, it's early, right? It's the first drive. But Jackson Stratton hasn't gone left to right or right to left. It just immediately open up, get the ball out, clear picture, one read, conversion.
If you told a SoCal kid this would be his November weather in the Big Ten, I think he'd take it too. Now he's going to give it. Johnson breaks a tackle and cuts it back and runs into the face of a defender for 9 yards.
And this is just where Maryland's going to have to make some hay, right? This is outside zone, a little stretch play, and then downhill right through Caleb Wheatland's arm tackle. And this is a linebacker. He's a really physical player. This just shows the physicality of Caleb Johnson. Right, how about the offensive line distorting the read, and then one missed tackle, and away you go. And right now, this offensive line of Iowa seems to take it pretty personal. They're rolling with the fourth-string quarterback, and they've owned the line of scrimmage on this drive.
Seventh carry of the opening drive for Johnson, and he churns down inside the 15, a first down.
You know, he's just such a special player. We've been showing Caleb Johnson all game, guy. Watch the patience. See him slow down just a hair, and then boom, he puts his foot in the ground, and away you go. In this zone scheme, you have to be extremely patient. Number one, this offensive line, just true road graders right here. Joe Moore smiling down, excited about that. And away he goes. And his patience at the line of scrimmage has just continually stood out all season.
Stratton, play action, trouble, and brought down by Wheatland. Caleb Wheatland with the sack. The first negative play of the drive.
Okay, so on one hand, you're like, okay, you didn't have a catastrophic situation, but see how, look at his head? It took a little bit too much time for him to get around. Whenever you're going to go deep play action, guy, you have got to snap that head around, especially when you're going to your left. You're trying to get back to the right. You have got to go as fast as possible. You see that a lot in the NFL, whether that's Jared Goff or any team really in the NFC West, which is a background of Tim Lester, of course, spending time in the NFL with the Packers in that scheme so often discussed.
10-yard loss on the sack, and then Moulton, his first touch of the day, fumbles it, and Maryland recovers. Iowa was marching, and then it all came to a screeching halt. That was Kamari Moulton's first carry of the day.
Well, I want to go back and check out the exchange guy. That's the thing that, at least from up here, initially stood out to me. Let's see. Put it in the belly. And that's on the back to me. Just didn't secure it. So many times this running back group has taken handoff after handoff in practice. I'd imagine this hasn't happened very often, but big job for Maryland rising up.
Let's take a look at today's Impact Players, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance when Maryland has the ball.
Well, I got to imagine Ty Felton's going to get a lot of touches today. Huge part of the game plan. And how about Sebastian Castro playing that hybrid role for this defense? He's got to have a big game.
Maryland takes over after the Iowa fumble, and Billy Edwards, his first passing attempt with that glove on, dealing with the injured thumb, goes high for Felton.
Yeah, we talked to him yesterday about that injured thumb. Really, throughout the week, didn't do much at practice outside of mental reps. Clearly is master around this system. Threw a little bit on Thursday, a tear yesterday, but he wanted to give that thumb a ton of rest this week.
He's going to throw it again. And this time he completes it. Caden Prather will make it third down and manageable.
Biggest thing you want to check is his follow-through. Is he just cutting it loose and letting it rip? And you see him early on just getting rid of the ball quickly. To me, I wonder when there's bodies around him, and he's usually extremely savvy in the pocket, how he navigates that if they're trying to get the ball out extremely quick because of the thumb.
That play was a first down. And so now they'll give it. No, fake it. It's Edwards. And he likes to run. He's not afraid to go. And against this Iowa defense, that could be dangerous. But that's a 7-yard carry.
Look, it's cliche, but he's the son of a coach, right? His brother's a coach in college. This is a coach's kid. This is that mentality where he's going to leave it all on the line. And for him, you saw him on that snap, audible to that zone read play. He's going to have a ton of freedom today against an Iowa defense that I think will have to mix it up a little bit.
This is to Hemby out of the backfield, and he gets away from the first man. But look out, 10 others there to bring him down. Sebastian Castro was the first one, 29. Remember, this is an Iowa defense without Jamari Harris, the star #1 cornerback for them. That was a late week surprise with his injury, did not make the trip. And so we don't get that #1 receiver corner matchup today with he and Ty Felton.
No, looking forward to that matchup, and I know a lot of other people were, and as fans and as evaluators at the next level, so hope he's all right from that apparent injury.
Now it's 3rd down and long. Man in his face, and that ball goes errantly over the middle. Max Llewellyn charging into a quarterback with an injured thumb, and look, he goes right to the glove, Yokes.
Yeah, well, you can't help it, right? Like, it's in your subconscious. It's a real thing, and this is exactly what we just talked about. How he's going to do when the pocket gets muddied. Really nice job of getting pressure, and the hit is right on the arm. So good for Edwards. I think maybe on the way down, trying to brace his fall. But, man, was that impressive, not only physically, but Max Llewellyn, the move, go outside, cut underneath, and get right in the face of Edwards.
So Maryland can't do much, just gets 1 first down after the Iowa fumble. And with the wind at his back, Bryce McPherson sends it away to Caden Weegan. First man misses, second man brings him down at around the 33-yard line. 54 yards on the punt, 8 on the return. Iowa's offense coming back.
Timeout on the.
A fumble from Iowa, a punt from Maryland. Those are our possessions so far here in the first quarter. Let's take a look at today's trivia question, sponsored by T-Mobile. Caleb Johnson was named a Doak Walker semifinalist, who is the only Iowa running back to win that award. What's your confidence level on a scale of 1 to 10 that you know this?
I feel pretty good.
Yeah.
I feel like I saw a piece on The Journey on the Big Ten Network where that individual may have been a part of that incredible feature, by the way. I love that crew. I'm glued to every one of those guys.
So after the punt, Iowa takes over. Here's Johnson with a 4-yard carry on first down. You want to say, take your guess. Take your guess, Yogi.
Go ahead, man.
Sean Green? Yeah.
There it is.
Got it.
There it is.
They got to meet earlier this year. Sean Green has some of the records that Caleb has been chasing. In fact, Johnson is tied right now with Green for the single season rushing touchdown record of 20. That means Johnson's next will be 21 and an Iowa record. And he gets out to midfield and another first down.
Yeah, take a look at this. I mean, just look at all the defenders, right? Everybody down near the line of scrimmage for Maryland. I mean, that's 5 at the line of scrimmage. You got 3 linebackers, you got a safety down. I mean, pretty much everybody there. And they do such a beautiful job of targeting. It's a reason they're a semifinalist for the Joe Moore Award. I mean, I'm not surprised by that. What this offensive line has done has been so impressive.
Jazion Peterson has come into the game now, and he gets the carry, and he gets tied up after a 2-yard pickup. Jordan Phillips there on the stop. Let's go down to Rhett.
Guy, you were just saying that Caleb Johnson had a chance to meet Sean Green. Well, one of the idols that has eluded him in terms of getting a chance to meet and talk is Derrick Henry, the king, the NFL's current rushing leader, who he loves and says he's got a list full of questions that he wants to ask Derrick as soon as he gets a chance to meet him. Chief among them, how does he fine-tune this stiff arm? That's what he's working on.
He's in the right state. I don't think Derrick's here today. Here's Peterson again. But Caleb Johnson keeps a green notebook under his TV, he said. He likes to take notes as he watches football. And, like, this is a guy who is not only climbing the Iowa record books, but his career trajectory, and you think about the next level, he's the guy that so many NFL teams they all have their eyes on him right now.
And they should. His maturity just continues to stand out, wants to finish this season. He's going to have to pass pro right here. I keep an eye on Jacob Gill in the slot at the top of the screen, right above the hash.
Stratton's already gone to him twice. Stratton, long throw on the money. Jarrett Bowie fighting his way after the catch. A first down, a pickup of 12 yards.
This is really impressive from the man who didn't catch the ball. Keep an eye right here. Watch the route of Gill right in the middle as the play unfolds. Does a nice job. Just see how he stays on the outside shoulder right there of the defensive back. That allows the throwing lane to be really clean. You teach receivers that, hey, don't slide inside. You slide inside, all of a sudden it could be an interception.
Hold on. Does Jackson Stratton have a rocket attached to his right shoulder? That ball was on fire. Here's Johnson delivering a blow. There's a little Derrick Henry right there. Look at him.
That was a little more Marshawn Lynch to me. That was like a bench press with the right arm there. He's just so physical. And again, it's the patience. Look at his eyes the whole time. He's just keeping an eye on where are you coming? Where are you coming? All right, you want a little taste of this thing? No problem. True freshman, Lakai rolling. Welcome to Big Ten. Play a little bit extra afterwards.
He also said he'll watch Eric Dickerson highlights.
Yeah,
he goes deep into the archives. Second down and short. Stratton will check it down, and Johnson makes a man miss and gets to the 25 of first down. Look out.
And you know the acronym I love. It's PACE. Plays after critical errors. Watch his head. Boom, it snaps back. Same type of action where he was sacked on the previous drive guy. Snaps his head around, and then for the first time today, goes right to left. Checks the ball down to his back. I don't care if you're a first-year player, fifth-year player. That's an impressive play at that position.
Now he's replaced by Kamari Moulton, who fumbled on his first attempt and this time hangs on and gets spun down. So they go right back to him. 3 backs in this game, trusting Moulton, giving him the opportunity after the fumble.
I love that part of Kirk Ferentz and just this plan. And I think going back to the play action, this run game is predicated under Tim Lester of making run and pass look the same. Now, he's got a lot of mentors that have come from that McVay, Shanahan-type tree. Spent time with the Packers a year ago.
Back to Moulton. And he gets the first down. For a team with a bell cow back, they do mix it up with the running backs, Iowa. Both drives, 3 different backs.
Yeah, you look at Caleb Johnson's numbers, and it's not like he's carrying it 35 times a game either. And I think that's something that just continually has stood out when you watch him on tape. It's why he's always so fresh.
Now Moulton out and Patterson in at the running back spot. And he gets the carry. And he runs into the pile for 3. Do you think if you're a running back here in the red zone, you're not supposed to score? Leave those for Caleb?
I think they all probably want to get some. And right now here for Maryland, they got to do what they did last time Iowa was down in this part of the field. They got to try to create a little bit of a negative play. This offensive line has done a really nice job of targeting in this zone scheme. I'd imagine they'll run here to the right.
11th play of the drive. Stratton throws, and Jarrett Bowie wasn't ready for it. Incomplete for Jackson Stratton. That's his first incompletion today. He started 4 of 4.
Well, Denal Brown has a little pressure, and I think that's one that to me is an experienced thrower. He's got to take a little bit off, man. You know, it's an RPO down in the red zone, similar to the UCLA game when he threw a touchdown and he ripped that one in. This is the touch element of the quarterback position that experience only truly provides.
He's got high RPMs. That's what Tim Lester said. Best arm on the team. 3rd down and 7. Caleb Johnson back in at running back. They're going to give it to him. Johnson feeling his way, and he's going to be shy. It's going to be 4th down. Kellen Wyatt on the tackle. And here comes the field goal unit, and plenty of chatter after.
A nice job by White. Got to be careful there. Remember, you can't stand over somebody. That could have been a penalty. We've seen that one called before. But overall for Maryland, really impressive. Rising up making a play there on that third down.
Drew Stevens on for the 27-yard attempt. He's been perfect inside of 50 yards this year. 11 of 11 in this range. And he stays perfect. So another long drive for Iowa, but Maryland stands strong in the red zone. The Hawkeyes get 3. Fans right now get 50% off for 3 months of Big Ten Plus. You can stream tonight's Iowa State wrestling matchup and 4 more Iowa duels this season. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to big10plus.com to subscribe. And make sure you enter Wrestling24 at checkout to take advantage of this limited time offer. A massive rivalry matchup between the 2nd-ranked and 9th-ranked squads in the nation. Iowa State coming up tonight. Octavian Smith back deep for Maryland after the Iowa field goal for the 2nd time. You've had 2 kickoffs today, the opening kick and this, and both times the wind has blown the ball off the tee. If it happens again, Rhett has to go hold. All right.
There we go.
Let's get Rhett out there.
I'll tell you what, 22 seconds left here in the first quarter, and Maryland's only had the ball 1 time. 5 plays. Like, you just think about that, and you're like, wow. You know, it's just, this is Big Ten football. This is what Iowa does, right? They want to work the clock. They've done that on their 2 possessions. This high-powered offense has been on the sideline.
Jalen Watson is holding. The wind absolutely kills that kick, and a great adjustment there from Octavian Smith to come out and catch it and then get out to the 31-yard line. This ball hits a wall at the 10-yard line, and somehow Smith got it.
He just totally has a great awareness of this stadium. Hand-eye clearly impressive, and an explosive return, good field position, and it looks like Billy Edwards, good to see him back out there with this group. Remember, his last time out, it was that 3rd down, and he gets hit on his arm as he released it, so I'm grabbing that thumb, that right thumb. Remember, he practiced all week, guy. Looked pretty good throwing early on, though.
And he's going to try and throw here. But he can't get it off, and he gets sacked. Ethan Hurkett is in there for his 3rd of the year.
Well, look, this is an Iowa defense. They do not want to get beat on the deep ball. Secondary took off. Make sure they didn't get any receiver behind them. Rush got home. And it's been all Iowa. Not a lot of plays for Maryland and Billy Edwards, but last 2 times he's dropped back. He's found his way to the ground due to the pressure from this Hawkeye D.
All right, Coach, defense been on the field a bunch here in this first quarter. How important is it for your offense to sustain something on this drive here to give those guys a break?
You know, it's really important. You know, the way they've run the ball and used the clock up, we've got to find a way to get a drive going and then execute on 3rd down. We've got a quarterback hit a couple times. We've got to stay inside out in protection.
How's Billy holding up?
He's holding up all right. We just can't get him hit the way we have. We've got to figure out how to stay inside out.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
Start the 2nd quarter with a 2nd down run to Hemby. After the sack on 1st down to end the quarter, they're behind the chains. Now it's 3rd down and 11. What did you make of what Mike Loxley said?
Well, I think a big part of protecting inside out is starts with the center and those 2 guards. And right now, this Iowa defensive front, they're twisting, they're stunting, they're looping. They're not just rushing straight ahead in their designated gap. So you got to have great communication, pass off these defensive linemen as they move with the line of scrimmage.
2 sacks already today for this Iowa front. They're best in the league in sacking the quarterback. This is the running back, Roman Hemby, who gets 6, but it's going to be 4th down and 5, and Billy Edwards got hit again.
Yeah, so here's the twist I'm talking about. Watch this side of the defensive line, guy, as the play develops. Right, it's just an X, and then they're going to bring a little bit of pressure. Nick Jackson coming from linebacker depth, and Phil Parker, there's a reason he's one of the best D coordinators in the game, and now finding a way through a quarter to get some pressure into the backfield again.
Well, with the sacks today, 12 straight seasons with 20 or more sacks for Iowa under Phil Parker. They just get this punt off from Bryce McPherson. and Weegan won't be able to return it. It goes out around the 24-yard line. Later tonight, second-ranked Nebraska battles sixth-ranked Wisconsin in a Saturday night volleyball showdown. Coverage begins at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Well, this was the first drive for Maryland. Billy Edwards dealing with an injured right thumb. He gets hit right on that arm, maybe right on the thumb. And then before the next drive, he's working that thing out, dealing with a glove. He's never worn one before. Now, this is on the last drive. On third down, he gets hit. And we'll have to see what he's able to figure out there with that hand as Iowa starts with Caleb Johnson stiff-arming and getting tossed out of bounds. A flag comes in. A 7-yard devastating, or a punishing 7-yard run. And here's Tim O'Day.
After the play was over, personal foul, late hit, defense number 12. The 15-yard penalty be added to the end of the run, automatic first down.
That's on Dante Trader. And then to finish the thought on Edwards, a moment ago, he goes into the locker room.
Just absolute frustration. Can only imagine. Pours so much into the craft. We met with him yesterday. He was so excited to go. Felt good about it.
First down after the penalty. And Caleb Johnson is just gashing right now. And he's across midfield, a pickup of 7 yards. And let's check in with Rick Pizzo in a studio update.
Guy, an absolutely perfect start for Indiana, forcing an Ohio State 3-and-out, and then Tyson Lawton punches it in. Hoosiers over the Buckeyes 7-0, minute 30 to play in the first quarter.
Kamari Moulton now in the game. And it's second down and 4. And Stratton turns right into pressure, and this time he gets the ball out to the tight end, Ostranga, and a first down.
Tell you what, first drive to now this third drive. Watch him snap his head around. Boom! You got to get around, see, take a picture pre-snap, and then post-snap. Nice job of knowing where his outlet is. Finding his tight end, Ostranga. He was happy when Ostranga was cleared to go. Everybody's best friend, especially when you're a walk-on quarterback in your first start.
14-yard pickup, and now back to Moulton. And let's bring in Rhett Lewis down the field.
Guys, just to set the scene here for Jackson Stratton, fourth-string quarterback, Tim Lester, a positive voice in his ear. Talking to him before the game, Lester said he's going to be a cheerleader in his ear all game long. I actually talked to Rams offensive coordinator Mike LaFleur, who played for Tim Lester at Elmhurst College, said that, man, he's one of the most positive and optimistic coaches that he's ever been around. And that optimistic tone when he's delivering the play calls in the headset is going to be a big benefit for Jackson Stratton as Moulton gets another carry here at Guy Yogi.
Yeah, it's a great point, Rhett, because so much of quarterback is your psyche, right? And the quarterback, especially when you're talking about Jackson Stratton, he cares so much. They said actually during practice during the week, he has struggled sometimes with like flushing a negative play because of the care factor so high. What have you noticed down on the field, Rhett, from that first drive where it's sack and then it's a turnover to now his third drive of the game?
I went over to the Iowa sideline after that first turnover, and absolutely no reaction. I mean, just kind of a, absolute middle of the road, wasn't too high, wasn't too low. And that's kind of what the coaches said they really loved about him, especially when he came into the game against UCLA. And it certainly helps your confidence and your demeanor when you can hand it off to number 2 like they're doing early and often here in this game.
What's his nickname? Shaggy?
Yep. Shaggy.
Scooby-Doo?
Yeah. Rhett, you've been around so many players in the NFL at quarterback. It seems as though a lot of quarterbacks, they still value that type of conviction that a play caller talks to them in their headset, similar to what you just described.
Absolutely, and that was one of the things that Mike LaFleur told me. Obviously, he gets a chance to work with Matthew Stafford, a Super Bowl champion quarterback, and so he said it's not only that positive tone that's going to be a help for a young player like Stratton making his first start. He's like, Matthew Stafford thrives on that kind of optimism and encouragement on the headset.
Looked like they were setting up a double pass from Terrell Washington. Looked like he wanted to throw, and then he pulled it down. All right, why do they call him Shaggy? Maybe it's partly his his demeanor, but I think it's more the hair.
Yeah, that's a pretty good flow right there, especially in slow motion. It only looks even better for this quarterback. Rhett, I'd imagine they're going to go a little zone here, outside zone. What have you noticed, especially Jordan Phillips? I know he's a big-time playmaker on the inside. He's got to make one here.
Phillips certainly has been holding up, but they've been able to dig out a King Basote a couple of times.
This is third down. Moulton. It's going to be very close. Right at the stick. I was saying they got it. Let's see.
Either way, I'm going for it if I'm Iowa, even if it is short.
I think it is, Yogi. This is going to be fourth down and less than a yard.
And there was that man, Jordan Phillips, just taking on two Iowa offensive linemen, Rhett.
Yeah, he kind of went down to one knee, watching from right behind him here, and was still, with that strong lower half, was still kind of able to forklift and keep Iowa from getting that first down, and now we're going to get another timeout here.
On the field on the previous play was that the runner was short of the line to gain. The ruling is under further review.
Well,
We're going to review the last play.
you could see the uniform of the official. See it blowing in the wind. That's how windy it is down there. I wouldn't be shocked if both staffs go for it here on a fourth down. But yeah, this is going to be the question. See when the knee goes down, where the ball is.
Like the ball, you know, he's got to get to the 14, and the ball is clearly past that hash by the time he lands. But, you know, his knee
Drops immediately.
Yeah. The 14-yard line, so that first hash after the, because he's stood up at like a 90-degree angle almost.
As always, looking at every single angle.
I got to tell you, Yogi, I think it probably is a first down. Whether or not you can tell that definitively from here, I'm not sure.
Tell you what you can tell is the strength of Jordan Phillips down on a knee. To Rhett's point, absolutely forklifting some offensive linemen. Yeah, this one's going to be close.
Yeah, there's Phillips 8 with one arm.
Yeah.
Look at this. 320 pounds is, what did Mike Loxley tell us? You can watch him.
The ruling of short of the line to gain stands as called. It is fourth down, Iowa.
And not enough. And it does look like the offense
staying out there.
Yeah, it's going to remain out there. And I think it's the right call. They've had so much success in the run game. The challenge is that you're unlikely to run a quarterback sneak here. There is minimal, if any, depth behind number 19.
It's not Johnson, but it's Patterson who's the back. They do go with the sneak, and they get it. You were concerned about what? Just the exchange?
The injury, the exchange. I mean, there's a lot of bodies going on in there. First time really running it in this type of situation. But again, we'll go back to talking with Coach Ferentz, talking offensive coordinator Tim Lester. How many times do they say, we're going to rip it? I mean, how many times do they use that phrase? They wanted to call their offense with him, so they go with that on 4th and inches. They go with the QB sneak, a little push from the tight end, away they go.
You saw that graphic, 13 first downs to 8 total plays. That doesn't even seem real. Back to Caleb Johnson, and he picks up about 3-4 yards. They still can pick up a first down at the 3-yard line.
To me, it's just wild when you look at the time of possession. I mean, it's pretty much just been Iowa the entirety of the game, and they got the ball for almost 13 minutes right now. Around the halfway point here in the second quarter.
Caleb Johnson, the deep man. And he's got it. And Johnson cuts back and ends up on his back after a collision with Jordan Phillips. He was smelling the end zone there.
Well, take a look at Mason Richmond, the left tackle right here. You'll see him as the play unfolds, number 78. This is just impressive. Hands inside, go from 1 to 2. Oftentimes, an offensive lineman, you help out your buddy inside and then you climb to somebody else. Does it with force and physicality, and the line of scrimmage continues to move.
Johnson already over 100 yards today. Gets it back again, and this time he's tied up by Jalen Husky, who recovered the fumble for Maryland's defense earlier today, a 2-yard loss.
Yeah, nice job by Husky, just knifing into the backfield. And these are the things I think Maryland's had a little success down here in the red area throughout the early parts of this ball game. They've had stops down here. Can they get another one? And then for Iowa, are you thinking, you gotta throw the ball, right? When it's so tight, it makes everything so condensed, especially as a quarterback. Do they go back to another RPO, take a little bit off of the throw potentially from Jackson Stratton?
Second and goal, and whistles before the play, a timeout for Iowa.
Before the ball was snapped, charge timeout Iowa. Timeout on the field.
And we'll step aside, and I promise Iowa will still be on offense when we return. Tomorrow, don't miss women's hoops when the Hawkeyes square off against Washington State. Coverage begins at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Second down and goal coming up for Iowa. Caleb Johnson, he is closing in on a career high for carries in a game in the first half.
Yeah. You know what? I would hand it to him a lot too.
Jazzy and Patterson, pardon me, is in the game at running back right now. And they're going to flip it to Terrell Washington. And he can't turn the corner because Tommy Akingbasote is there for the tackle.
Tell you what, I thought they were going to run that exact play prior to the timeout, except the other side of the field. They call timeout, decide to go to the boundary with a running back who's playing a little wide receiver, a little hybrid player to set up here a third down. And right now, if it's me, as they go empty, I'd keep an eye on that man, number 5, Jacob Gill. He's at the bottom of the screens, man-to-man coverage.
Well, Caleb Johnson's at the top. Maryland's defense was scrambling a little, but now he comes in behind Stratton in the pistol, and they give it to him. And the superstar back sets the Iowa single-season touchdown rushing record, number 21 in a banner year for Caleb Johnson. He puts his name at the top of another list.
Congratulations, man. I mean, it's just an amazing story. Didn't even know if he could be a running back when he was growing up. He saw a billboard of Derrick Henry, a guy he idolizes. He said, I could be a big back. I could be a tall back. And since he showed up on campus, he just continued to develop. Now he continues to entrench his name in the record books. And as he said, a conversation with that man this week, it was all about focus and finish. Caleb Johnson, I know you're not done yet, man. But that drive, that finish pretty good. Touchdown, Iowa, they extend their lead.
Take a look at today's scoring drive brought to you by Marathon. 14 plays, 77 yards, 7.5 minutes. Is their third drive today. They've had 3 of 12 or more plays. One resulted in a field goal, 1 a fumble, and 1 touchdown, the 21st rushing touchdown of the year. We've yet to have a kickoff without the ball blowing off the tee. So Jalen Watson's going to come in and hold for the second time in a row. 16-mile-an-hour winds are the norm, but the gusts have been much bigger today. And while everything's going right for Iowa, a challenge here for Maryland. After 2 series, was dealing with the injured thumb that he came into the game with. We saw Billy Edwards go into the locker room. So here now, the third-year sophomore, the transfer from NC State, MJ Morris, takes over.
Yeah, and look, we talked to Mike Loxley about this, and he said, look, the best part of this week is that he got all the reps with the ones, MJ Morris. We said off the top of the broadcast, Billy Edwards did not practice. It was all mental reps. So MJ Morris has been locked in, is dialed in. It's really unique circumstances on both sidelines when it comes to the quarterback position.
He has that batted down right in his face by Nick Jackson.
Okay, he's got a dual threat element to his game, as did Billy Edwards. The biggest thing is you see this RPO and nice batted ball timing from the veteran Nick Jackson. By the way, it's his 71st game he's played in college football.
Do you think it's the first time he's blocked one with his face?
I don't know, but I'll say this. For Maryland, they've got to go to try to complete the ball outside. You're seeing Iowa now press coverage outside, trying to take away some of those easy completions.
This is the 10th offensive play of the game for Maryland. And Morris gets ridden out of bounds by Jay Higgins.
So we'll set up this third and manageable. But, you know, in the offensive football world, they call it, you want to take free access throws. All right, what does that mean? That's either when the guys in the secondary, the corner specifically, are in off coverage, and you can just throw a hitch, throw a bubble screen, get the ball out. Iowa right now is playing a bunch of press coverage, but they're playing zone coverage, so they're bailing on the snap. They're trying to make sure they don't get beat deep. So you got to run like a stop route, a snag route, something, get to the sticks, and then boom, the ball is out from M.J. Morris to one of his wideouts.
Well, Ty Felton being deep in the second quarter without a catch is not part of the plan. They'll go to the tight end for a first down. Preston Howard, a 6-yard pickup, and that's got to feel good for this Maryland offense. They needed that. The defense for Maryland needed that too. Yeah,
well, that's the dance. Right here I am about to say, well, let's get a little tempo going, right? You see a little no huddle, muddle, huddle element for Maryland, but to your point, you don't want to put this defense back on the field, especially with the way the clock has gone in this game, and Maryland will get the ball to start the third quarter.
There you see Billy Edwards back out of the locker room looking on from the sideline. Morris pressured and flushed. Flag comes in. Morris picks up about 4 or 5, but this could be coming back. It's only this
holding. Offense number 66. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Third down.
Only the second penalty of the day. That's on Alu Ba.
Big part right now for Maryland is just
correction. It is first down.
Trying to stay level-headed right now. Right, it has been a one-sided game. You see your quarterback. There's Billy Edwards just trying to keep it warm. Right, that's the biggest thing when you have that type of injury. It's a little chilly out here. That's why he wore a glove on it.
Morris behind Caden Prather, and it's incomplete. 2nd and 20 now.
Yeah, what Iowa's doing is they're playing with 2 high safeties, guy. They're trying to take anything deep away. So Maryland's saying, all right, we're going to do a little RPO action. Let's give you the threat of a run. Try to hit it in the apex of the defense, right around those hash marks where you saw that ball get attempted. And it's just tough play calling in this situation.
For an offense that's used to having success throwing the ball, statistically the #1 passing offense in the Big Ten this year. Morris dropped the snap for a moment, picks it up, and there's Ty Felton's first catch today. He's trying to make something happen, but the result of the play, 9 yards, at least gets them into third and about 12.
Yeah, and right now this can be all about protection here, because where there are openings against this Iowa defense is all the intermediate routes, in-breaking intermediate routes. Iowa's not allowing to throw a whole shot, a deep ball. They'll give you a little quickie and then rally to the football like they have on the 2 completions on this drive.
Felton's lined up at the top ahead of T.J. Hall, who's starting today in place of the injured Jamari Harris. And before this play, Mike Loxley will take a timeout for Maryland, and that's their second. So a big 3rd and 12 here in the first half coming up, and we'll take a 30-second break.
Welcome back, and it is that man right there, Ty Felton. All eyes on him on this critical 3rd down.
M.J. Morris, QB2 in the game for Maryland after the Edwards injury. And he throws incomplete. Caden Prather was running down the sideline. They were not on the same page, it doesn't appear. And now Maryland will have to punt.
Well, anytime you're going up against a new quarterback, especially in the game like Iowa is defensively, on these 3rd downs, you just see them bring these exotic pressures. Iowa's not a heavy pressure team. You talk to any coach who's faced this team over the course of the last 20-plus years, and they're going to say Iowa does what they do. And on 3rd down, they just heat it up. M.J. Morris with an exotic pressure to his right.
Bryce McPherson is punting into a strong wind right now, and he puts a low spiral down. And Cade Weegen's going to go pick it up and then lose it out of bounds. 15-second break. We know Big Ten fans are known for their passion and for their rivalries. This season, Abbott and the Big Ten are asking you to bring that passion to fight the greatest blood shortage in a generation. Sign up, donate, and make it count at big10.org/Abbott. The school with the most donations has a monetary prize at the end and bragging rights in the league. after the punt. A 3-yard loss for Addison Ostrenga.
Hey, watch this play action. I mean, this is kind of unique. To his left,
Wow.
back to the right, and then spins around. I mean, they're having fun. I can only imagine what that headset was like in advance of that play from Tim Lester, saying, all right, man, we got this unique play action. Something sweet's going to be there, because he did it with conviction, even though he checked it down on a loss.
That's a pretty good Tim Lester.
Yeah, you like that?
We had fun talking to him on the field before the game, so energized. Here's Johnson, and he gets stood up immediately by the big man in the middle, Jordan Phillips.
Well, these two interior defensive tackles, they're really talented. Jordan Phillips, Tommy Aking-Masote, and that is why, if you're Iowa, you continue to run these stretch plays, this zone stretch where you get your offensive line moving, try to get the defensive linemen on skates. You hear that by offensive line coaches all of the time. Interior run game, Iowa's had some problems today because of those 2D tackles.
Well, this would feel good for this Maryland D if they get off the field here. 3rd and 12. Back to Johnson, and he gets tackled immediately by Donnell Brown, who didn't play last week but has come back to make a couple big tackles today.
Yeah, this is impressive from Donnell Brown. To your point, they missed his presence. See him right there at the bottom of the screen, getting off the block and then shedding it to get to the tackle. Really nice job right there at the bottom of the screen. And when you're playing against a team, you just saw the pistol formation from Iowa, something a little unique to their run game. It can change your run fits up. It definitely can change the timing. Nice job from Brown and company there. It's a critical stop. Now can you get the ball back, right? You know how much I love the middle 8. Right, this is an area where Maryland's going to try to get 2 scores in a row. If they can get one here in the last 2 minutes, they'll get the ball coming out of the half.
So we've got the 2-minute timeout. Maryland defense gets a stop before the half. Can the offense step up and keep pace with Caleb Johnson? 2 minutes left in the half. First punt of the day for Reese Dakin coming up. The true freshman Ozzie punter for Iowa, and he has got a howling wind at his back. Maryland trying to get Ty Felton involved. He only has 1 punt return this year, but he is back, and now all kinds of movement up front, and now flagged.
This is going to be an interesting call.
Yeah,
it looked like Iowa got set, and then they were going to change their formation, try to draw Maryland offsides, which would have worked. Let's see what the call is.
Offside, defense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Kiari James was the man who jumped.
See the bottom of the screen.
Ugh. Have we seen a sudden movement
Not in a while.
penalty since week 3?
Definitely not on the offensive side of the ball. Right, there they go again.
Dakin, this ball off the side of his foot, and Felton will not be able to get a return. Great punt down to the 5. That's about as good as you can do at 53 yards on the boot. Football in the Big Ten Network is sponsored by Marathon. Proud to save drivers and their co-pilots up to $1 per gallon. By State Farm, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And by Discover. So many great receivers in this Maryland history. It really is a prolific history of wideouts. And look, this guy, Ty Felton, has put himself right in the conversation with so many others. Last week set a program record for the most catches in a season. They want to get him the ball 15 times a game, but as you see on that graphic, Yogi, he only has 2 targets today. They'll run it out of the shadow of their end zone. See why special teams such a weapon for Iowa. They got a long way to go here.
And Iowa's in
Thursday night, Iowa, their second of the half. It will be 30
They're going
seconds
to play field
in length.
position.
They're smelling another possession. We'll take a quick break. Coming up, stick around for the Defender halftime report. Rick, Jerry, Howard, and Brock will take you through the first half highlights, get you ready for the rest of a busy Saturday across the Big Ten. That's next on the Defender halftime report. Second down for Maryland. Iowa took a timeout. Second possession for MJ Morris, who has replaced Billy Edwards, dealing with that thumb injury today. They're going to run it again. Roman Hemby again. And Iowa will take its third timeout before this third down play, and we'll take a 30-second break.
It will be 30 seconds in length.
Well, Billy Edwards been thrown over there on that sideline. He's got the glove on that right hand. Not in right now, though, for this third down. Iowa's used its timeouts to try and set up a possession of its own.
They're going to throw it here.
MJ Morris throws off the fingertips of the tight end Dylan Wade, coming off a career day against Rutgers last week. That's his first target today, and just as he did last week, he comes up limping. And now it's fourth down, and here comes the punt team.
Yeah, he's running a straight vertical route, pressure in his face. I wonder if that ball gets tipped at all. Not sure. Either way, we got a punt into the wind guy here, which I'd imagine if I'm Iowa, I am bringing some pressure right now.
Bryce McPherson, his last punt into this wind was 30 yards. Punting from his own end zone. And he gets it away. Caden Weegen's going to fair catch it at the 44-yard line. A 35-yard punt with 129. Great field position for Iowa. Take a look at the comparison here between the two teams the first four drives.
I mean, if you said to me, what are the chances of Maryland having 25 passing yards at halftime? I'd say absolutely zero. I'd say after one drive, and then the total plays, to your point, 41 for Iowa, just absolutely dominating time of possession. Let's remember, Maryland guys, the lone turnover in the game. Didn't do anything with it on the opening drive, and now this fourth string walk-on quarterback looks to be pretty in command, and now they go 2-minute drill. Let's see what he can do in the air.
On the verge of field goal range with a tailwind, and he completes it to Luke Lachey, the tight end's first catch today.
Okay, so if I'm calling the defense here for Maryland, I am not only bringing at least a fifth guy on every play, but I'm playing press coverage. I want to try to disrupt the timing of these receivers, and most importantly, the timing of this quarterback. Usually young quarterbacks, their feet are what are messed up. You watch the UCLA game, he wasn't perfect. You got to get the staff. They talked about having clean feet. Well, how do you get him dirty? You bring a little pressure. You try to make things a little hairy in between his ears.
It's already field goal range now for Iowa. Back to Caleb Johnson. And you know who's putting in work today is Jordan Phillips in the middle there.
Well, this is all about efficiency right now. If you're Iowa, you've got to manage the clock. And this is the thing that most young quarterbacks also struggle with. It's mastering specific situations.
Clock stops for the moment for the first down. Restarts. And here's Stratton. Long throw over the head of Bowie.
Yeah, and he went out of bounds, too. So much of this thing at this position, right? Especially near the fringe red zone, you're thinking touchdown, check down, touchdown, check down. Just getting the ball out of your hands if you're Jackson Stratton. You're also saying, okay, we're with the wind. I'd imagine we're, to your point, able to kick a field goal here right around here. I feel good about it, right? Easily. Look at those flags. It is.
Drew Stevens hit a 57-yarder at UCLA 2 weeks ago. That didn't count, but 57. I mean, this is around 51.
So here comes that motion. Caleb Johnson back in. Wouldn't be shocked if they run it here again.
Stratton taking his time and cuts it loose, and it's incomplete. He was looking for Seth Anderson. Great coverage that time from Jalen Husky, who's down. He's had a great game so far today.
Yeah, he's been impressive. He's been all over the field. Love the combination, though. And how about the confidence to step into this throw? Just in and out of the hands. Sometimes you got to help out that young QB. Missed opportunity there for me for Iowa offensively.
All right, give me the Tim Lester in the headset now.
Okay, man. Number one, make sure you protect the football, all right? The clock is stopped. It's third down. We're going to hand the ball off to the best running back on the field, and then we're going to kick a field goal. Don't do anything out of the ordinary. You love this, man? Here we go.
Play clock was very low.
Delay game.
And that's on the
Offense,
cue.
5-yard penalty. Third
That's
down.
an unforced error.
We're talking in his ear.
Yeah, talking too much, right? The play clock, remember, the headset communication cuts off at 15.
And the coach can't help from the sideline. They have no more timeouts.
They have no timeout. So now, to me, do you enter a passing situation? Or do you want to just try to get half back and kick the field goal to the point with the win? And this is all about the bounce back, right? Pace, plays after critical errors. That was a critical error. To me, that's on the quarterback with the play clock. It's right in front of you, right above the goalposts. Shouldn't be an issue here.
Here's Caleb Johnson, and he gets dug out. Good tackle that time from Kellen Wyatt. And here comes the field goal team.
Wyatt's
Drew Stevens.
Charge timeout.
Better be careful, though. You can't be talking too much. You don't want one of those penalties.
Correction, their second of the half. It will be 30 seconds in length. Please reset the game clock to 104. 104, please. Thank you.
I mean, Maryland's going to get the ball back.
Well, what if you miss this field goal?
That's right.
That was Maryland's final timeout of the half.
Okay, so no more timeouts for Maryland. 54-yard attempt here for Stevens. That's his career long, is 54. But again, he's got a significant tailwind here. Hit a game-winning 52-yarder last year against Northwestern. Hit a 57-yarder on a calm night in the Rose Bowl 2 weeks ago. There was a defensive penalty. They took it off the board, but he made it. Straight down the middle and plenty of leg. Wow. That was a rocket. That would have been good from 70?
I mean, no joke, just drills it between the uprights, and the half ain't done yet.
One minute left here in the first half. Let's take another look at Drew Stevens. Officially 53 yards in the Gulf Stream.
Wow.
We've had some, like F-16 flyovers this year in some stadiums. I mean, this thing, yeah, you could hear it.
Well, look, Kirk Ferentz told us all week long, you got to be complimentary in this game, especially with the quarterback situation that Iowa's in. Done a nice job, field position, punt team, field goal.
Yep.
Now here you go with kickoff through the end zone again.
So, Yogi, what do? You don't have no timeouts. You do get the ball first to start the second half. If you're Maryland, do you try and push the ball down the field here?
Look, the wind is a real thing. Like, we know that. But I'm seeing if I can get some of those, we call them, right, again, like these free access throws. I got to give my team something to be confident about going into halftime. And I don't think it's just, hey, we're going to get the ball coming out. I try to get after a little bit. You got a receiving core that I think is really talented. Iowa's down their top corner. Let's see if we can get a little movement.
We saw Billy Edwards warming up a little bit on the sideline, the starting quarterback, but he's not in there now. MJ Morris spooked out of the backfield and eventually goes down. The second sack today for Ethan Herkett.
Yeah, and I think this is just one for MJ Morris. You just want to try to sit in the pocket. Watch the running back get a little chip right here on the edge. Just want to sit in that pocket, check the ball down. I think he's feeling that pressure a little bit. It makes sense. He's been pressured since he got into the ball game, guy. But right there was an opportunity for a check down and some explosive yards.
Morris, and he gets that completion to Ty Felton. Felton gets the first down for Maryland. It's his second catch today, and they're hurrying up. Morris, and to the sideline, and the tight end Preston Howard able to get out of bounds.
Okay, so now you got an opportunity with 16 seconds to take to me, a shot down the seam. Often in 2-minute offenses, and especially defensively, when you're not trying to give up a big explosive play to the outside, there's seams that you can find around each hash mark. The challenge at quarterback is you got to look off these safeties. You got to throw away from the coverage. It's going to be a tight window. Can you fit it down the seam? Octavian Smith in the slot at the bottom of the screen. He's a speedster for them.
One of the best receiving groups in the nation, just unable to get free so far today. But Morris will take a shot down the sideline for Prather, and he can't bring it down. Deshaun Lee, who's been playing that number 2 corner spot for Iowa lately, no Jamari Harris today, and he makes the play.
And nice job over the top as well. A little bit of help. The secondary, Lee, to your point, running with him. I love how he turns his eyes back. Kind of hits him in the helmet there.
Gave his 6'3" receiver a chance.
Yep.
That play took 6 seconds off the clock, and now it's 3rd and 5. And the play clock is getting low.
You got to hurry up here.
I don't know if he sees it.
Nope. Same issue. Same deal, man. I mean, sometimes, what do you ask a quarterback every week? It's the first thing you do.
5-yard penalty.
It's the first thing you do when you get to a stadium. As a visiting quarterback, you go find out where the play clock is. Home quarterback, you know your spot. So those things at the position, they're just inexcusable at that position. That's a standard of playing quarterback anywhere, man.
Well, understand too, right? QB2, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Through his mind right now, I'm sure. 3rd down. Morris, first catch of the day for Shalik Knotts, but he's unable to get out of bounds. He did not get the first down. Clock hit 0. Did not get the first down. So the clock couldn't stop, and the first half ends with a 13-0 Iowa lead.
Well, this is big time adjustments. I think for Maryland coming out of the half, guys, going to be how do we get the ball in our playmakers' hands? Touches to Felton, to Prather and company. They have to get them involved, and the ball's got to get out quick because Iowa has found a way to get home with pressure. And on the flip side, if you're Iowa, keep running the football. Good play action game. You got to be confident with your 4th string quarterback and the efficiency Jackson Stratton has shown in this first half.
Iowa ran 46 plays to Maryland's 22 in the first half. Caleb Johnson already over 100 yards. Maryland will get the ball first in the second half. Coming up next, we send you to Chicago for the Defender Halftime Report.
Caleb Johnson has the game's only touchdown in College Park, as expected. Also a remarkably heavy workload in the first half. 22 carries for K2, and it is 13-0 Iowa over Maryland at the break. Welcome inside the Land Rover Defender Halftime. Rick Pizzo, Brock Farine, Jerry DiNardo, Howard Griffith. Yeah. You predicted pregame at least 200 yards from scrimmage for Caleb Johnson. He is well on his way.
Well on his way, and we kind of knew this was ultimately what they were going to do from an offensive standpoint, but I thought this offensive line has done a good job at times of being able to reestablish the line of scrimmage, but Maryland is fighting with them, so they're going to have to continue this into the second half.
You know, I showed a play of Iowa losing contain last week, and I said Phil Parker lost contain.
Yes, you did.
Said
Phil Parker's not playing.
But his eligibility ran out a long time ago.
But Phil Parker has fixed the problem.
Okay.
65 yards total.
That's pretty good.
And 13 yards
Is
rushing.
He containing the edge today, doing a better job?
He has an edge.
Keeping everything on the inside?
He's got an edge. Howard had an edge this morning, but he's calmed down a little bit.
Good to see Billy Edwards back out there. Yeah. Obviously, the hand doesn't feel great. He has a glove on it now, and there's going to be limited possessions in the second half. The run game is going. They have a lead. They're not going to put Jackson Stratton in a situation where he's not playing keep away. They're going to eat up clock. Limited possessions for Maryland. You got to make them count.
Maryland's got to figure something out offensively, though. What does Mike Loxley do?
Anything. Yeah. What does he do? I would say you have to get Billy Edwards involved in the run game. Obviously, Roman Hemby isn't working. Maybe you can get Billy Edwards involved, assign a defender to him. Now Roman Hemby can get going. Now play action can get going. But you have to try something. Yeah.
And you hope Edwards stays healthy. He has not looked good. Had that hand whacked early in the game. It's a tough go for a quarterback.
That's a great halftime.
Did you like that? There's a little bit of whack. Got a good one going in Columbus. Indiana is showing out, scored first, holding that Buckeye explosive offense fairly quiet. We'll show you the highlights from the big-time clash in Columbus with a spot in the Big Ten championship game up for grabs. That's next. Top 5 showdown inside the shoe. Indiana, Ohio State. What a great start for the Hoosiers. Ohio State goes 3 and out, and then IU just marches it down the field. Tyson Lawton gives Indiana a 7-0 lead. Early second quarter, same score. On 4th and 1, Ohio State's Quinshon Judkins stuffed. Buckeyes turn it over on downs. They did even it up. Midway through the second quarter, Will Howard to Emeka Ibuka to tie it at 7. Ohio State has just scored after a muffed Indiana punt. It's 13-7. PAT coming. Illinois-Rutgers also in progress from the banks. Illinois receiving the punt down 3-0. Hank Beatty finds a seam, and Beatty goes 59 yards down the sideline. Would lead to an Illinois field goal to tie this thing up at 3 apiece. Into the second quarter, Ethan Kaliakmanis, who Jerry said would combine with Luke Altmaier for 4 passing, not total touchdowns.
Oh, total touchdown.
No, that's not what
on
you said.
now.
I don't know about
We're
that.
going to have to check the tape.
Check the tape.
Rutgers up 10-3 at that point. And then it's Altmaier. This one definitely counts. Finding Beatty. Extra point, no good. It's 10-9 Rutgers. Scarlet Knights on the doorstep late in the second quarter. Coming up next, after we finish Iowa, Maryland, take you to Lincoln, Wisconsin, Nebraska. Both teams 1 win shy of bowl eligibility. Both made coordinator changes this week. Lots of storylines for us to follow in Lincoln. So, Jerry, that is the biggest storyline to me. Phil Longo's out. You have a new play caller at Wisconsin. You have Dana Holgorsen in Lincoln. What should we expect?
Well, they've got to make some adjustments, right? This is so difficult on a quarterback to start calling plays that the new offensive coordinator sends in. I don't like it. I think it's really hard to make this change midseason.
I think when you look at the Badgers, Kenny Guyton is going to be the wide receiver coach this week, and maybe he's the offensive coordinator as well. But he's a former quarterback, so he can really calm those quarterbacks as they get ready to go out and compete today.
And for Nebraska's offense last week, in a loss, but in Dana Holgorsen's debut, to their credit, they were continuously moving the ball forward. When they get the 2nd and 14s, the 3rd and 15s, that's when Raiola starts to make mistakes. If they can continue that, maybe they can get a win today.
But this is an example of the new coordinator. He was pretty critical of his team.
Yes, very critical.
So I'm a quarterback or I'm an offensive lineman, and they're changing coordinators, and he's trashing us. I mean, I'm not sure that's the best thing midseason.
And I think you're trying to get the attention of the team. Yeah. You're coming in from the outside, but there's something you could do, because he also said when he saw the playbook, all he saw was screen plays. So, what does that really say? But you said they need to shake up, and you talked about that earlier. They need to start making some changes to get this team going.
They don't need to be critical publicly. Yeah. They can say whatever they want in a meeting.
That's fair. There's a lot of pressure in Columbus right now, a top 5 matchup. I would argue second place of matchups is this game, because either team not making a bowl game is a failure of a season.
Yeah, and the loser of this game has a tough one next week, whether it's Wisconsin having to face Minnesota for Paul Bunyan's axe, whether it's Nebraska facing Iowa on the day after Thanksgiving. Not a situation that we envisioned either of these teams being in some 6 weeks ago. Iowa, Maryland, it's been all Hawkeyes. But Maryland had a few moments like this. Jalen Husky fumble recovery after Kamari Moulton put it on the ground. Terps need more of that. They trail by 13.
The Big Ten Network Halftime Report is sponsored by Defender.
Hawkeye defense on lockdown mode in the first half. Ethan Hurkett has 2 sacks. Iowa's given up just 65 total yards. They lead at 13-0. Second half from College Park coming your way next here on the Big Ten Network.
Today's Big Impact research takes us to the University of Maryland and a brand new research and education greenhouse dedicated to aquaponics, which combines raising fish with growing produce without soil. Nutrient-rich water from fish tanks feeds crops like lettuce and herbs. The plants, in turn, purify the water as it circulates back into the fish tanks, creating a sustainable, year-round source of protein and fresh vegetables to help reduce food insecurity, especially in cities or where farmland is limited.
Back on a brisk and breezy Saturday here at College Park. Final home game of the season, senior day for the Terps, and so they're going to get the ball first to start this second half, and they can change the complexion of this game if they can go down and score. Must-win game for them if they want the postseason. Yogi Roth, Guy Haberman, Rhett Lewis on the field. Jackson Stratton, fourth-string quarterback, first career start for Iowa. He's looked mostly in control today.
Well, look, you know the acronym. I love it. PACE, plays after critical errors. We have not seen him make the same mistake twice. Go to the first drive of the game. It's a play-action pass. Doesn't get his head around quickly enough. It's a sack. It's a turnover at the next play. And you're thinking, oh, no, issues in the red zone. They go back to a unique play action. No problem. And he checks it down versus taking a shot down the field. Watch here again from under center. Snapping his eyes back, getting the ball out of his hand for positive yardage to his tight end. Time and time again throughout the first half, you saw the confidence just grow. Extremely efficient. No major errors. Mentally had one with the play clock, but overall, I got to be really happy with Jackson Stratton in the first half that he's had.
How about this? Look at those numbers. His career numbers, including a freshman year at Colorado State 3 years ago, and then off the bench against UCLA last week. He played 44 career snaps coming into today. He's played 46 offensive snaps in this game for Iowa's offense. Maryland's going to try and spark something by taking this out to start the second half. Octavian Smith, though, gets cut down. Couldn't get to the 15-yard line. Down on the field, let's bring in Rhett Lewis. Rhett
talked to Kirk Ferentz coming off the field after the first half. Was impressed with the way Jackson Stratton is handling himself. Asked him what's been working for him in the run game. He said, well, we got choked down a little bit in the second quarter. We're not good enough to feel like we've accomplished anything just yet. As for Mike Loxley and the Terps, Billy Edwards trotting out there on the field said he had the medical staff work on the thumb. He's got to give it a go. If not, they'll go back to MJ Morris, and they got to help with the run game. Loxley saying the offense is the key, not necessarily defense. Offense needs to sustain drives to give the defense a break.
Came into the game with a thumb injury, was hit a couple times on the first possession of the game, trying to get this run game going with Roman Hemby. That's only his fourth carry today. This is Edwards getting ready for the second half, warming up, trying to get that thumb loose.
Yeah, he's got a resiliency to him that is just part of his makeup. A little thumbs up saying, I'm good, I'm good. He came into this game, he's going to come back next year, but he walked out with the seniors here. It's senior day in this stadium. So many proud seniors. Part of the first class of head coach Mike Loxley. He feels a real big part of that, wants to try to lead them to a comeback.
There's Hemby trying to run it again and going nowhere.
I'll tell you what, I'd imagine if you're in that Iowa locker room at halftime, as referenced, they're coming out saying, we're going to get the very best of Maryland. Let's go win physically. First two plays of the third quarter, it has been boom, boom from this front seven of Iowa.
Jay Higgins second in the league in tackles. They've been impossible to run on today. And Maryland struggled on third down as well. And deep in their own territory to start this half. Edwards checks it down. It's knocked away by Jay Higgins, the semifinalist for the Butkus, the Lombardi, the Bednarik, the Lott Impact Trophy, and back-to-back plays for the star linebacker.
Yeah, this is really impressive. Just keep an eye right there as the play unfolds. Jay Higgins, he didn't practice all week either. He's nursing some injuries late in the season, but I just love the patience. His eyes, he sees it, and then he just drives on the ball. Decently thrown ball, but that to me is the thumb. We saw that a week ago. They were just missing by about 6 to 12 inches at times. I think another miss there for the experienced quarterback.
And so now into the wind, this punt here from McPherson, tries to hit it low and keep it under the wind, and gets a good roll out to midfield and just across it. But it is not how Maryland wanted to start the second half. 40 yards on the punt, which again is, all things considered with this wind, is pretty good. Meanwhile, Iowa, you talk about the quarterback Jackson Stratton. It helps to have Caleb Johnson in the backfield with him. Johnson, a rushing touchdown in this game, the 21st of the season. That gives him the single season rushing record for the Hawkeyes, passing Sean Green.
I think to Rhett's point from talking to Coach Ferentz, only 50 rushing yards in that second quarter. I think they got to get back to that stretch game where the offensive line is just moving to the right or the left in the zone scheme and just forcing those interior defensive linemen to run.
Here's Johnson. looking fresh as ever with his 23rd carry of the day for 11 yards.
This is an offense, we just look at their numbers on the season, they have just gotten stronger. And I think that's really the better teams in this league, guy. They just lean on you and lean on you. And it helps when you have a young man like Caleb Johnson in the backfield.
And they always tend to start it here, just to start the second half and score. I mean, they're one of the best scoring teams in the second half in the country.
Look, a huge part of Maryland's week this week from Mike Locksley was, hey, we are going to be optimists. We are going to be optimists. We're not going to buy in any pessimism. Yes, the season hasn't gone as we wanted, but the way you can take out some of that optimism is like running the football. The first 2 plays, the line of scrimmage just moving for positive yardage for this front of Iowa.
They give it to Gill on the end around, and he gets swallowed up immediately by Donnell Brown.
Brown has had an impact in this game. Missed the most recent game. He's got a lot of ability, a huge block on a field goal against USC. They're going to need him here on a 3rd down.
Yeah, if you're looking for guys who are playing hard, you can look at Brown.
Yeah, he's the epitome of that. Right now, though, I think you do not want to give up a conversion here. Got an opportunity to get a little pressure. Only 3 men down. They'll probably bring a 4th.
Brown. He thought there was movement from the tight end. Let's check on this penalty. Tim O'Day.
Offside defense, number 9, was in the neutral zone, causing the offense to react. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Second defensive offsides for Maryland today.
It was almost like he couldn't stop. Like he was anticipating with the clap what the cadence was going to be. And an unforced error for Mike Locksley and his team.
So it's still 3rd down, but now just 3rd and 2.
And now
I will go into the pistol.
Yeah, and this is where they've had success today. Just a lot of downhill runs from this formation. Forces linebackers to hesitate just a hair.
Jazian Patterson, the back. He gets hit behind the line and stopped. So Maryland's able to overcome that penalty and force a 4th down here. But does Iowa consider going for it? They're certainly in field goal range, given that we saw Drew Stevens make a 54-yarder in the first half. And he's going to go out there to kick again.
Yeah, I think that's a good decision. Just the way the game has played out, the time of possession, the success moving the line of scrimmage. Try to get 3 points here.
15-mile-an-hour winds today with gusts up to 30 miles an hour at last check. This is a 50-yard attempt. And this comes out clean and good. Drew Stevens from downtown buries the 3. Tonight, stream wrestling live on Big Ten Plus when the 2nd-ranked Hawkeyes step onto the mat for a rivalry clash with number 9 Iowa State. Don't miss any of the excitement. And subscribe right now at BigTenPlus.com. We got dominance on the football field for Iowa, dominance on the mat as well for the Hawkeyes. Holding on the kickoff again on a windy day, and so Maryland's offense, 2nd possession. The flag is out.
Offside, kicking team number 26. The 5-yard penalty be added to the end of the kick.
So that's on Iowa. You take a look at what Iowa wrestling has done. 24 NCAA championships, 37 Big Ten titles, 162 All-Americans. They have 6 All-Americans on this team. And, you know, Kirk Ferentz, rightfully, everyone brings up the longevity. He's been at Iowa between his time as a head coach and an assistant 35 years. Well, Tom Brands was a great wrestler, gold medal wrestler in his day. 34 years at Iowa as a head coach, assistant, and a student athlete. So right on Kirk Ferentz's heels there. This is a big positive for Maryland. A rare explosive, if you will. I mean, it's 11 yards on the quick pass to the running back, Roman Hemby.
It's the longest play of the day for Maryland offensively. Nice job setting up the screen. And away they go, moving the chains.
Billy Edwards back out there again with Felton in motion. He'll give it to Hemby again. And Hemby's able to find his way. He feels finally free, Rhett.
Yeah, and look, I like the way that they were using Ty Felton right there in that motion across the field just to kind of influence the eyes of the linebackers there for a moment to give Hemby a chance to break out of that thing. And look, I think there's a conflict here, Yogi and Guy, with what Maryland wants to do and what they need to do, right? They want to be explosive in the pass game, but I feel like with the way that Billy Edwards' thumb is operating, they need to kind of take some of those body blows with the free access throws and a lot of this run game with Hemby.
Yeah, this is working. Yeah, this is working. And we talk so much about the field goals made from Iowa because the wind was at their backs. Well, the deep ball, every time the ball's been up in the air, Maryland hasn't been able to make a play. I wonder if the ball's just dying in the air at times, limiting the explosive playmaking, right, if you feel that at all.
Well, and it's hard to kind of determine here whether that is wind-related or whether that's, thumb and grip-related for Billy Edwards at this point. But right now, I'd keep feeding the ball to 24 in red.
It's a bad combination. Bad thumb and a headwind. Here's Edwards keeping it. And you got to protect that hand as he gets 3 yards. This is the first time Maryland's been in Iowa territory today.
Red, Billy Edwards is huge at audibling at the line of scrimmage. I'd be curious what you see here, especially if Iowa is not in that two-deep safety look. When they're in that two-deep look, man, they can't find anything down the field, but the last few snaps, they've been creeping to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, got to keep an eye on that here for sure, and keep an eye on how much Billy Edwards is actually going to try to tote this ball on the ground. Don't imagine we'll see much more of that as they get it out here to Prather on the edge, who hasn't had a ton of targets as well. Really, none of these receivers have gotten the touches that match the formula for success, according to Mike Locksley, right, Guy? You mentioned it, 15 for Ty. They want to get 10 to 12 for Prather. It's been difficult that way, but as Mike Locksley told me coming out of the locker room, he'd rather see the ball go into the hands of Roman Hemby here a bunch in the second half.
5 targets for Prather, but 4 touches combined between those two guys, Red. Here's the quarterback, Edwards, keeping it, makes one guy miss, and then gets banged hard by Nick Jackson.
Yeah,
that's a first down.
The toughness of Billy Edwards is on display. It has been his entire football life. Again, the son of a coach, his brother currently coaching in college football, was on this staff here at Maryland. And now I think, Red, to me, as we got a hopefully Ethan Hurkett's going to be all right. He's been so active.
Finish that thought on Billy Edwards when we return. We'll step aside here with Hurkett down.
Want to see who is leading the conference? Just tell Siri, show me the Big Ten football standings.
And you'll see the standings with Oregon already securing its place in the Big Ten championship game at 8-0. Also coming up later today, Nebraska, Wisconsin, both at 5-5 overall. Trying to get to a bowl game. Winner assures itself for the postseason. Ethan Hurkett, the injured player, was able to walk off, and now Nolan Ray with an explosive run for a first down, a pickup of 14. Who are these Terps?
Yeah, they got a little momentum here, a little zone read action. They feed the fresh-legged back, and away they go. And you're seeing, again, talk about that optimism that Mike Locksley referenced all week long. His team coming out here on this drive, having success for the first time today.
Edwards pressured, and he steps up into space, and he goes flailing down inside the 5-yard line. His helmet is off. He took a huge hit. Oh.
Timeout on the field.
Quinn Schulte and Xavier Wampa were in on that collision.
He took a shot. He delivered a shot. Hope he is all right. He has left it all out here on the field here on Senior Day.
Wow. He took off, and that was a two-way street on that hit with Wampa. Billy Edwards was able to get up and walk off, talking to his teammates as he did. He just went to the medical tent after a big hit on a big run. It's 1st and goal with MJ Morris, the number 2 QB, back into the game for the second time today. He hands it off, and Roman Hemby gets ripped down by Ethan Hurkett. Remember, Hurkett was down on the field a moment ago, and he's obviously back. He's been fantastic.
Yeah, You see the stem of the defensive line really late. To me, that impacted the way it was blocked. You got a true freshman, Therese Davis, at left tackle. He was untouched, Hurkett was, on his way to the backfield.
Bobbled the snap. And so Morris is going to try and take it himself. I don't know if he was ready for it. You can see him reacting, talking to the center. Josh Kaltenberger, that's a loss of 3. I don't know if he expected this, Yogi.
You see him looking to his left, right? Just trying to assess what it is. Nice job athletically, just making sure that he secured the ball, did the right thing, just try to get down. But here we go. He got Felton in the slot, the bottom of the screen. I'm finding a way to get number 10 the ball.
Hemby comes into the backfield on 3rd and goal. Morris evades and throws and completes it to Ty Felton, the hero they needed.
How about that? That was a little pace for you. Morris, watch this route right there. It's going to be a corner route. He's got to work his way through 2 different defenders. Wampum was the first one there. Ball located well to the corner, and Felton finally breaks out.
And they're going to go for 2 here, Yogi, to try and make this a 2-score game, or at least put them down by 1 score.
You know, most coaches we talk to don't start doing this until the 4th quarter. But because of the limited possessions in the run game of Iowa, Mike Loxley says we're going for 2.
Felton in single coverage at the bottom. Morris pressured. Morris just has to get it out. And the 2-point try fails. Aaron Graves, Ethan Hurkett in the backfield.
Graves, really nice job coming from the defensive line, trying to find Felton. Here's the touchdown. Corner out, well thrown, great route, finding his way through conflict, getting Maryland on the board. They don't get 2, but we got a game.
Maryland scores for the first time today a touchdown, failed 2-point play, but it was the touchdown catch for Ty Felton, his 8th touchdown catch of the year for the Biletnikoff Award semifinalist. That was the best drive by far of the day for Maryland. And so they've got about 6 more minutes of game time to play into the wind, and then they'll have the tailwind for the 4th quarter. But the wind has definitely been a factor in this game today.
It was the success on early down, running the ball, screens, the backs are the ones that got them down in the QB run game. Curious next time they get the ball if Billy Edwards is cleared to come back in or not.
Hawes sends this away to Weegan. Nobody returns more kicks or punts in the country than Weegan. He goes into a collision at the 23-yard line. So Felton, part of a very special senior group here, and what they've accomplished. What he's done goes down the record books. The 86 catches this year, the 4th 1,000-yard season in Maryland history. The touchdown numbers coming into today as well now grows. And then there's all the other stuff that won't be in the record books, and that's the legacy that he leaves.
Yeah, we spent a bunch of time with him this week. This is a guy who chose this school, wanted to have a huge impact. 38 miles away is where he played his high school ball.
Career high 25th carry for Caleb Johnson. Let's check in with Rick Pizzo with a studio update.
Thank you, Guy. Ohio State has taken control in Columbus thanks to special teams after scoring late in the 2nd quarter after a muffed Indiana punt. Caleb Downs takes this one back. The rout. Ohio State now up on Indiana 21-7 midway through the 3rd quarter.
All right, Rick, thank you. 2nd down and 6 here. And Jackson Stratton with a quick throw to Jacob Gill. and he's got a first down. Gill was reliable early and has been right there when Jackson Stratton has needed him throughout the game. So Jackson Stratton, right? Let's reset this. First career start. Walk-on. Transferred from Colorado State. Didn't play there last year. Fourth-string quarterback. Came off the bench 2 weeks ago before the bye against UCLA. Has played more snaps in this game than he had in his whole career. The story from Tim Lester is amazing. Here's Johnson. Tim Lester, he was in the NFL last year, and coaches told him, oh, this portal, this portal thing, you're going to love this portal. So then he said the portal hits, and there's nobody in the spring portal last year. He said, so I started watching high school tape, and I saw this guy Jackson Stratton. I liked his high school. I'd recruit him out of high school. So he went and watched him throw. Jackson Stratton, good networking right there.
That's right.
He's in the background?
Yeah, that's Coach Lester in the background watching the workout. And look, when you're a walk-on quarterback, you just want a shot, right? And he did. He's got the best arm in the room when you talk to the coaching staff, and he's going to throw it again.
And it's complete again.
So the thing that stood out to me the most, we had a chance to spend some time with Keller Christ, who was the opposite of Jackson Stratton. He was the biggest quarterback recruit in the world. He's now on the staff working with the quarterbacks. And he said even when he was working on scout team, you see the throw and catch there, every Thursday he would meet with Keller Christ all season and be like, let's go through the game plan. So mentally, this young man has stayed locked in. It's not as though the last couple weeks since he's been full-time in the real quarterback room that he's been dialed. This young man has been preparing for the moment since he arrived in June.
Here's a third down. Big moment here late in this third quarter. They're going to put it on Stratton. He steps up and throws, but it's shy of the sticks, and it's going to be 4th and 1. That's Gill who made the catch, but he didn't have enough depth to move the chains.
I thought he was going to rip the corner route to his left. He's waiting on it, and then he comes on down a hair early, a tick early, and gets it to Gill. And for Gill, he's veteran enough. You got to get past the sticks there. You want to catch it and go down. They're short, and they decide to punt it away.
And so now here is Reese Dakin for the second time. His first punt going in this direction was 53 yards. Wind still pumping. Dakin hangs it way up. And a fair catch is made for Maryland. And we'll take a 15-second break. Mara Beeson leads second-ranked Nebraska into a Saturday night volleyball showdown with Sarah Franklin and sixth-ranked Wisconsin. Coverage begins at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Last drive was great for Maryland. They had more drives, more yards, 70 on that drive. They had in their first 64, but that was with Billy Edwards at quarterback. MJ Morris came in after Edwards had to leave because of injury, threw a touchdown pass, didn't convert the 2-point. Roman Hemby and Nolan Ray were both very productive on that drive. This one starts with Ray getting a couple.
And as gone in the game guy, Maryland has rotated a bunch of offensive linemen, especially on that left side. Marcus Dumerville, he's in on this drive, the left tackle. Something to pay attention to is the edges of Iowa have been able to penetrate, most notably Ethan Hurkett.
Hurkett has a couple of sacks today. Here's Morris keeping it. That got sniffed out. The first man there was none other than Jay Higgins, of course. And eventually a 2-yard pickup. It's third down.
Higgins is so good at diagnosing where the ball is going to go. I mean, you want to talk about rush lanes at the linebacker? Just watch the film of this captain, Jay Higgins. Such an impressive career he's had. Look at the numbers. You're going to need him here to rise up on a third down. Too deep. There should be something underneath here.
Iowa fans making noise, and Felton can't hold on, and he can't believe it.
It's a matchup you knew you were going to get. He against Sebastian Castro, a 6th-year player for this Iowa defense in the slot, and he's just running a slant, man-to-man underneath, and simply dropped. It's on his hip. He's made much more challenging grabs in his career, and he knows it.
That is not what you think you're going to see when you show up to watch Ty Felton.
Yeah, this game, the margins are so tight when you're looking at Maryland, especially with your backup quarterback here. Needed to get helped out on that third down.
Bryce McPherson did a 40-yard punt into the wind his last time. And he has a game plan, right? He is kicking it low and spinning it through. Weegan breaks the tackle. The guy trying to tackle him was Ty Felton. A flag comes in. 39-yard punt, 7 on the return.
That was impressive from Felton. Misses the tackle, but ends up making the tackle.
How about impressive from Felton? He's on special teams punt coverage. He's a Biletnikoff finalist. Don't you graduate off of...
No, he doesn't want that. He's so selfless.
Kicking team number 44. The 15-yard penalty be added to the end of the kick. Automatic first down.
Take a look here. It's Caleb Wheatland, the linebacker.
Right there, that's an easy call for the officials. As you see Felton come on in and deliver that final blow there. But now again, like we talked about this, all week long in advance of this game, you're talking about field position, especially with your 4th-string walk-on quarterback, and field position has been won predominantly in this game from Iowa.
42 rush plays today, and the 26 carries for Caleb Johnson, now 27, are a career high.
Isn't that crazy? You wouldn't have thought that. Just even in advance of this game, this season, he's only gone for 25 carries twice.
Now this is the 3rd time.
Yeah, and the numbers are just staggering. And he's just one of those backs. I think they just lean on you. I mean, you just imagine him at the next level running this type of scheme that has become vogue in the NFL. It's called a mid-zone scheme, meaning you want to stretch the defense, act as though you're running at the outside leg of that tackle, but have the ability to cut it back, which he's done so many times tonight.
Stratton pulls it back, and still caught in between there with Andrew Lynch. Pardon me, that was Zach Ortworth, the tight end.
Again, we talked about it. Rhett Lewis has talked about it many times throughout the ball game too. Tim Lester, the offensive coordinator, helmet-to-helmet communication, right? He's talking to his QB the whole time. It cuts off, and the play clock is at 15, and I'm sure after that last snap, he's saying, flush it, move on, no problem. It's 3rd and 4 as we're coming up here on the bottom of the 3rd quarter.
And in field goal range for Iowa. They won for their last 7 on 3rd down. So they give it to Caleb Johnson, and he gets stopped shy of the line to gain. Maryland's interior.
Tajay Johnson was in on that play. This is a team that has continued to compete. I'll say that. I mean, every successful program reflects the messaging of the head coach. And the messaging from Mike Locksley all week has been about optimism, going to compete, having pride in the program, doing it for the seniors. And on senior day, we've seen that, guy. This team has cut it loose in every way. They do need to see if they can get a stop here.
It will be 30 seconds in length.
Iowa calls a timeout.
They want to kick with the wind at their back.
I don't blame them.
Right, so they're going to line up to kick this field goal, but they've got the kind of wind the Wright brothers would have appreciated at their tail.
But it's a really impressive job of Kirk Ferentz and his special teams staff. I'm just knowing, all right, it's a totally different deal.
Did you go to the Air and Space Museum yesterday when you were, or Thursday when you were walking around?
Yeah, I walked all over DC. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, I haven't been here in a while. I can see why so many recruits want to come here. They got a nice class coming here. Big-time quarterback. Signing here in a matter of weeks, the early signing period. And sure was, man.
Drew Stevens is like, coach, get me this win. He's got a 54-yarder. He's got a 50-yarder. This is a 49-yarder. And he's got a 27-yarder. Straight and through. This guy's Steph Curry as a field goal kicker from deep. Drew Stevens having himself a day.
That is the end of the 3rd quarter.
Good management there from Iowa. They used the timeout before the end of the quarter to make sure they got the wind at their tail. And Drew Stevens delivers again. Time now for for celebrating Fansville, sponsored by Dr. Pepper. College football, it's a pepper thing. A lot of Iowa fans made this trip. You could hear them on a Maryland third down. They know how to tailgate, judging from when we pulled in early this morning. And they're getting a great trip out of it here to College Park, which is an awesome campus.
I don't blame him. The sun is out. Mid-November. You got Thanksgiving coming up. I'd be tailgating too.
They tell us, Yogi, that temperatures in the 50s are great for November. Now, your 7 layers say otherwise. A little sky kick and a heads-up play from Octavian Smith, who steps out of bounds and then picks up the ball to draw the penalty on Iowa. His head's in the game.
Kickoff out of bounds. Kicking team number 18. The ball will be placed at the 35-yard line, first down.
I mean, you know, Drew Stevens is thinking this is a perfect kick, right? It's not going to go out of bounds. And then Smith, by rule, if you step out first and then touch the ball, you can draw the penalty on the kicking team. And so that brings the ball out to the 35-yard line.
Yeah,
it's just like the ball going out of bounds on the kick.
Yeah, it was a treat yesterday for us. Just every Friday getting to go to a practice and watch every team. Yesterday was Maryland go through specific situations, particularly on special teams, all over it there as the fourth quarter gets rolling here.
With MJ Morris back at quarterback, and he gives it off to Nolan Ray, and like a strike of lightning, Nolan Ray across midfield. A big play, one of the best of the day for the Terps, 25 yards.
I love this play call. Watch Alan Hara on the right tackle. As the play unfolds, he's going to go to his left. The defensive linebackers are going to hesitate just enough, and Nick Jackson gets blocked. That springs the explosive run.
25 yards is the biggest play of the day for Maryland. Morris slings it to the outside to Prather. So Morris came into the game for the first time on the third possession because the starter Billy Edwards is dealing with a thumb injury that he came into the game with, got hit early, left. Edwards comes back in the second half, leads a drive that gets finished with a Morris touchdown. So it was a touchdown drive, but he got hurt. Edwards did on that drive as well, running, and took a big hit down near the goal line. He was able to get up and walk off. So all that to say, it's Morris's second time in. Now he's taking a shot, but overshooting Ty Felton. And a flag comes in.
They were going to get it, and I love how they did it on that down and distance. Third down, they haven't been able to get anything against two high safeties. There it is on a 2nd and 5. It's basically man-to-man coverage.
Defense number 2. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
And that's on T.J. Hall. You see the push right there, grabbing that arm. And just a reminder, Jamari Harris did not make the trip. He is not playing. That is a top cover corner for Iowa. And I like MJ Morris giving his guy a shot. You know, the technique that Iowa's playing right now, guy, they're playing some bail technique, right? Meaning they're in the face of these receivers. There's Billy Edwards, and they're bailing at the snap.
There's Nolan Ray. You saw Billy Edwards out of the 10 for Maryland. The hit he took was a hit to the head. It was a big collision. It was not related to his thumb, we don't think. But the thumb is an ongoing issue too. Remember, Yogi, now time he's not playing, it's getting cold. Looks like he is trying to warm back up now. Morris, clean pocket with time, too high for Prather.
Oh, and it's there too. Prather just running that dig route against Deshaun Lee. It's so important these receivers just don't get frustrated. You see him at the outside, watch at the top, just kind of stick his left foot in the ground, and that's just got to be low. That's going to be numbers and lower in front of the safety. Ball just gets airmailed. You wonder if the wind, as the quarterback, puts a little extra juice on it, a little extra flight on it.
Going this direction now with the tail. You're right. We saw it during warm-ups. The ball's just taken off this direction. Morris is going to keep it, and he gets very near. They're going to mark him just short of the line to gain. It's 4th down and less than a yard.
Let's take a look at this one again. Let's see where the ball is, where his knee is. He's got a lead blocker following him. How about the pursuit?
He needed to get to the 10 for the first down.
Let's see from this angle. It's hard to tell where the ball is.
Tajay Johnson and Dylan Fontes, 2 defensive linemen, come in. And just one big turtle shell there, inching forward for what looks like, at least by the mark, of first down.
Samuel's got to be lucky there, man. You cannot push in as he did there late.
It is a first down.
Yeah, and it's been a chippy game at times. I'd imagine Kirk Ferentz saying, come on, throw that flag there. You saw that last push. Sometimes they do get the second guy. Regardless, 1st and goal. Big opportunity here. And again, keep an eye on that man in the slot at the top of the screen, Ty Felton.
Iowa's getting a chance to substitute, and the play clock is dangerously low, and Maryland's going to have to use a timeout. The officials are going to give that defense time to sub. If the offense subs, they did, and so Maryland had to use a timeout to avoid the delay of game. Kirk Ferentz was hot during the commercial break because he thought on this 4th and 1 play there should have been a penalty at the end.
It's right there, DJ Samuels. Guy over the top of him. He gets frustrated, and then it's this. That push there coming back. Look, it went both ways, Fisher and him. Kirk Ferentz saying, come on, man. And here comes Maryland with the ball on the 10.
And Maryland had to use a timeout. Flag just comes in. Maryland had to use a timeout.
False start. Offense number 16. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Maryland had to use a timeout because there was a substitution situation before the commercial. Now, this was going on during the commercial. The one thing I'll say, Yogi, the first thing that happened was the Iowa player pulls Maryland player, which is a penalty, right? You can't pull somebody off the pile.
Regardless of intent, it is a penalty if you do that. You're right.
So now 1st and goal from the 15. Morris just waiting. He can't totally squeeze through that hole. Ethan Herkett there for the tackle. Now it's 2nd down.
Well, if you're playing quarterback here, MJ Morris, you think you got a lane, keep an eye on Herkett, right? Play quarterback here, you're dropping back, you're looking for something, nothing there, and you're thinking, I got a running lane right here, and Herkett just says, no, you don't. He's been impressive. He's so disciplined within his gap, and he's so physical with his hands. He's got great eyes, understanding what's going on in the backfield for that 5th-year senior.
Nolan Ray is the man in motion, the back all the way at the top now. Morris looking, Felton, he's got it, Felton scores a touchdown. And on senior day, his 2nd of the afternoon, and he pulls Maryland all the way back into the game.
Check out this route, a little jerk route, and he against Jay Higgins. That is advantage. The Biletnikoff semifinalist every single time.
He went for 2 earlier, didn't get it. Trying to make this a 6-point game. So MJ Morris off the bench. The instructions are clear. Find 10.
Find number 10, explosive, athletic, make it up for an earlier drop, find it 6 again. A little celebration in College Park. And Mr. Morris says, yeah, 2 times in a row.
Football on the Big Ten Network is brought to you by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense. And by Rinvoq. Scenes from senior day today. 22 seniors honored pregame. 4 seniors who walked last year, also part of this program. You can see the emotion there. Ty Felton has had 2 touchdowns today. And he told it. He got emotional when we sat down with him yesterday at the team facility. He even said, I'm trying to say less because I don't want to get emotional. We got emotional Thursday. They showed the team video. I'm going to get emotional tonight, Friday. Yesterday he told us this. When the seniors talk, I'm going to get emotional tomorrow. This place means so much to him. And he is doing everything he can to get Maryland back in this one. Here's Kate Weechen, bringing it out to the 20. He's got 2 touchdowns in this game.
Yeah, and they have needed these 2 plays. One on a corner route, just fighting his way through a very chaotic secondary. And then how about this one? Just the route was so impressive. A little jerk route, showcasing his athleticism, his ability after the catch. And I think the biggest thing for him, and Rhett mentioned it to start the broadcast, it's his confidence. This guy, to your point, ACL in high school, came in here, wasn't that confident, coming off a year in COVID, challenging high school career in that regard, and now his team is feeding off his confidence.
Caleb Johnson, they keep feeding him for Iowa. That's 29 carries, adding to a career high, and a pickup of 7 yards. Well, just think about how different this felt, end of the first half. You're going, Ty Felton's got 2 catches. They want him to have 15.
On 3 targets.
On 3 targets. And, when we talked about the emotions yesterday, he said, I just have to keep my head. That's what I do. I'm going to keep my head. And he's done that through the emotions of the day that were maybe bittersweet, but also the frustrations of the game. And it'll be 3rd down and less than a yard here coming up for Iowa.
He's all smiles now. I do think that, look, every position is a challenge, but I think emotionally as a receiver, it's one of the most challenging ones, right? Quarterbacks in and out, not moving the ball, don't have a lot of ball. Now they got a chance to get it back. They can get a stop here on 3rd and short.
Johnson gets the 1st down for Iowa as we tick under 10 minutes remaining here in regulation.
What's kind of crazy is you're looking at this clock and, you're not ready to start talking about 4-minute offense, but you kind of do with Iowa. Like, there's a world where they don't give the ball back to Maryland in a 1-score game. How do they do it? They just continue to run the football, make reads extremely simple for their quarterback, Jackson Stratton.
They've had 2 drives in this game that are essentially as long as the amount of time left in this game. Kamari Malton breaks free and nobody's going to catch him. Touchdown, Iowa. A 68-yard reason to dance. He said, take this 8-minute drive. I don't want it.
Statement run as we see the offense remaining out there for a 2-point play. Nice job by him, of course, recovering from that fumble on the opening drive and punctuates the most recent drive.
With his longest career rush. And now a 2-point try. Stop.
Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Try.
Second delay for Iowa on offense today. And now here comes the kicking unit.
Yeah, that one seemed like it was on purpose. Like, hey, maybe we didn't have the right play in. Let's talk about it. You don't want to burn a timeout. No problem. Let's just move it back. Granted, the wind is different, but clearly your kicker is feeling as confident as any kicker in America today with what he's done.
And keep in mind, too, you've got the 4th-string quarterback out there. Once that headset communication cuts off, maybe there was nothing left to do but take the delay. So here's Drew Stevens. Could do that one with his eyes closed, the way he's kicked big field goals today.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's this offensive line. Look at them just all to their left. And in this scheme, you got freedom as a back. Kamari Malton says, I'm going to cut it back. And he does, and he finishes right in front of the fans. Celebration in Iowa doing Iowa things on the ground.
Big touchdown run for Iowa to take a much more comfortable lead over Maryland. Fans right now get 50% off for 3 months of Big Ten Plus. You can stream tonight's Iowa State wrestling match and 4 more Iowa duels this season. Just scan that QR code on the screen or go to BigTenPlus.com to subscribe. Make sure you enter Wrestling24 at checkout to take advantage of this limited time offer. That ball, I think Octavian Smith, did he fair catch it? It bounced, and
the ruling on the field is number 7 gave a fair catch signal. The ball became dead upon recovery. 1st and 10, Maryland at the 7-yard line.
Well, one of his teammates waved. It wasn't him. I did not see. Well, they said 7. Maybe 27?
Yeah.
Well, that's a wave.
Yeah.
Okay. So 5.
And a smart play by him again. Because you don't know where that ball's going to go. The ball's dying in the air.
But on the bounce, he's not going to get the 25. He doesn't get the 25. Well, Kirk Ferentz is upset about something. Octavian Smith had the great play on the last kickoff, but was a little caught in between there. Morris got out of trouble somehow and then slides down. Might have got hit in the face.
Yeah, it looked like it could have been a face mask there. Let's take a look at the hand coming in. Yeah.
Well, I don't think he.
I don't think he grabbed it.
I don't think he grabbed it, and he's at that point he was a runner. Oh, Felton couldn't bring it in. That was a tough catch, but it hit him in the hands.
It's another corner route, out-breaking route. It's just a drop.
Let's go down to Rhett.
Yeah, you know, Yogi, as you were talking about that route, I felt like Ty got his head around a little slow, and it was almost if that ball caught him off guard a little bit, because he's normally sure-handed. You don't see that ball hit the ground when it's intended for Ty Felton.
Wind at the back.
Yeah, and you wonder how the ball is finishing to that point.
That's on the money, and that time Felton's got it, and he keeps his feet for a first down.
Okay, so here you go with Maryland. A little bit of tempo here, just trying to get to the line of scrimmage. Again, out of the bunch formation, Maryland's had a lot of success at times this year. A little sit route, gets the ball out, and look at the balance. I do appreciate he just continued to bounce back to 2 drops in this game, then made plays after each of them.
Pressure coming off the edge. Hemby picks it up, and Felton again, automatic 8 yards.
I think right now you're getting such, and this is the Iowa defense, right? They want to play a shell defense, meaning kind of just put a top over everything. Don't allow anything to get behind us with 2 deep safeties. I think we'll see that for the remainder of this drive. Maryland had success on a pass interference when it was a single high defense. They took a shot deep down the field. See 2 deep safeties now for the Hawkeyes.
11 straight games with at least 5 catches for Felton. He's got 6 today. 5-man pressure again. Morris puts this up, and it's intercepted by T.J. Hall. He's been tested today, and he makes the play.
Well, they go from playing 2 deep safeties down to 1. It's the right idea. It's a slant and go, and how about Hall? Look at the coverage. Nice job, and then going up one-handed, catches it.
Does he have control before the ball hits the ground? The ball can move if he has control here. I don't know that he does. This is a change of possession.
The previous play was interception.
Automatically
that ruling is
reviewed.
under further review.
And they're going to review this. And the question is, he's going to the ground there. And Prather, good coverage. He has to have, the ball can hit the ground, but he's got to have control before it does. And then it can't be the reason he holds on here.
That's a hard one, man, because I don't see the ball moving at all. To the point, even when he grabs it. I mean, I get it. But it's got to be clear and obvious to go the other way on this one.
All right, let's bring in Mike Pereira, rules analyst from LA. Mike, what do you see here?
You know, it's an interesting play. It is one of those that we're actually split in here somewhat, whether we think it's an interception or an incomplete pass. When he's got that ball pinned in his arm, you know, there, it hits the ground, but I keep looking at that right arm that stays on the ball.
As called. The ball was intercepted. First down, Iowa.
Which is exactly what I was going to say, because it stays pinned on the ball. The hand doesn't come off. I think they had to stay with stands, which means either way that it was ruled, it was going to stand.
All right, Mike, thank you. We're split up here, too. Yogi gets to take that one. Big moment for T.J. Hall. You know, there's two Californians on this Iowa team, T.J. Hall and Jackson Stratton, the quarterback. And, you know, when you're Jackson Stratton, you're the fourth quarterback. When you're T.J. Hall, it's Jeremiah Harris, or Jamari Harris, excuse me, who's injured, didn't play today, the number one corner, didn't make the trip. So you know if you're T.J. Hall, you got a target on your back today. And he steps up in a big spot, just like Jackson Stratton did. Injury for Maryland. And Wheatland, who's been everywhere today, able to pop up. That's the guy, you see the emotion. We asked Ruben Hippolyte, who's, you know, like Ty Felton, just such a star on defense and a builder of this program. We said, who's the next guy that's the heart and soul? And he said, Caleb Wheatland. He said that guy can carry the torch.
He said when he showed up here, he was asking questions to Ruben Hippolyte, to himself, about, hey, how do you act like a pro? How do you make sure that you navigate this craft like a true professional? And he's risen up every single year, continually improved, and he'll fill those shoes extremely well.
Jackson Stratton just standing, looking at the play clock like he's waiting for the bus. There's plenty of play clock left.
And this is going to be about the situation and the mastery.
And back to Caleb Johnson. And he's tripped up going backwards on his 33rd carry of the day, a loss of 5.
I think this will be the next phase of development for Stratton as you get into 4-minute offense. Okay, to your point that we've made many times, right? The headset cuts off from your coach in 15 seconds. Oftentimes defenses, they change their front in a 4-minute situation. So I'd imagine Maryland will do that again as the clock continues to tick, tick, tick. So in the future, I think if Jackson Stratton continues to develop, he'll be audibling as well at the line of scrimmage under 15.
There's still time here for Maryland. They need to stop on 3rd down and 12, and I was going to run it with Caleb Johnson. And so the punt team will come out as the clock will tick under 6 minutes.
King Basote, he's been really impressive on film. He makes that play there, just crossing the face of the offensive line. And this defensive front, they had a challenging first quarter. Of course, they gave up the explosive, but overall, they have improved throughout elements of this game, and it's really been the two inside guys, King Basote and Jordan Phillips. Brian Williams, I was just saying, Brian Williams, he's got this defense. He's made different adjustments as the game has gone on with his personnel.
Reese Dakin skies this. And a fair catch made by Felton after a 40-yard punt. Still to come, the doubleheader continues when the Badgers and Huskers meet in Lincoln. That's at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Both those programs right now feel like they're in a vice. There's so much pressure, so much on the line in that game. The winner gets to the postseason.
I mean, has there ever been a game with two new OCs midseason?
The veteran, Dana Holgerson's the veteran OC.
Yeah, he's got an extra week on whatever Wisconsin has decided to do offensively. A lot of stakes in Lincoln.
51 rushes today. Look at that discrepancy to 14 passes for Iowa. MJ Morris, QB2, back in there, hit as he throws, and it's picked by Jay Higgins. Max Llewellyn in the backfield again. Maryland did such a good job of avoiding the turnover for much of this game, but back-to-back picks.
Yeah, and that's 48. Max Llewellyn gets the assist on that. Watch the spin move. Goes outside, spins inside in the face of Morris, which leads to that vet, that experienced fifth-year senior, the captain, Jay Higgins, getting the turnover, and the complementary defense of Iowa rises up.
Kamari Moulton, who just had the big touchdown run, is back in the game, and he'll take the handoff from Stratton. So you think about the Stratton situation. I mean, we've talked about the fact that he's quarterback 4, but let's talk about the specifics of it, right? Cade McNamara, injured 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago now, a concussion. Was hoping to make it back after the bye, was cleared to practice this last week, was not cleared to play. Brendan Sullivan got hurt back in the UCLA game. That's what brought Stratton in. The guy you haven't seen in all this is Marco Lainez, who was QB3. He's got a cast on his non-throwing hand. He broke his thumb in practice. He is QB2 today. So, I'll repeat, QB2 today for Iowa, was ahead of Stratton on the depth chart, but broke his thumb and has a cast on his hand.
Second charge timeout, Maryland. It will be 30 seconds in length.
It's been pretty consistent and efficient quarterback play from Jackson Stratton. I mean, you gotta, and there's the thumb on line.
It's the backup quarterback.
Yeah. Well, look, I'll say this. Jackson Stratton, and look, the path to success at quarterback is never linear. You always think that it is, but that is absolutely not the case. Whether it's Billy Edwards coming from Wake Forest, whether it's MJ Morris at NC State, or this young man coming from Northern California, Colorado State. You referenced earlier, coming in today, he only played 44 snaps in his entire collegiate career. Today, he's been impressive. I'll tell you what, he's grown from every missed opportunity. He has never made the same mistake twice, and he's navigated the little things for the most part, right? One error in terms of letting the clock get down, but he's played free, he's had fun, he showcased the arm talent the staff referenced many times. Now he's got a team on the verge of a big road victory.
Johnson gets it again and is able to stay on his feet and get the first down. What a big carry.
I mean, look at this. They just kind of look like the Steelers from back in the day with the colors and everything, man. I mean, it is true student body left. It's the toss. Look at the balance, the vision, the finish. I'd imagine this offensive line took heed from the staff and the history of this incredible program on the front, saying we got to put it on us.
Rhett?
Boy, watching that play develop there off the left side, getting the tight ends back, Ostrenga and Lachey, talking to Coach Lester and Coach Ferentz about that, man, they were really ecstatic to have those guys back for their help in securing the edge, right? To give those tackles a little bit of help securing that edge. Really saw that develop on that play. Looked like Lachey had his guy pushed all the way out of bounds.
Third and final, charge time.
That's what they've been doing all year, right? It's a tight ends mixed with a Joe Moore Award semifinalist offensive line. Back at 30. The Joe Moore Award goes to the best offensive line in college football. Last year it went to Washington. The 2 years before that, it went to Michigan. Here's some of the semifinalists, 4 from the Big Ten. And of course, Iowa among them. And it's so appropriate because Joe Moore, the man, the late, great coach, means so much to Kirk Ferentz.
Yeah, and he has such an influence on him every day now as Joe Moore has passed away, but also from way back in the day. He was actually his head coach when when Kirk Ferentz was in high school. Joe Moore was his head coach his senior year. Kirk Ferentz says, I want to get involved in coaching. He says, come with me. Goes to Pitt in 1980. They're there, and he said, every waking moment Kirk Ferentz said he spent with Joe Moore. He influenced him schematically, personally, of course, professionally. And we're seeing the fruits of that influence still today.
Here's Moulton with a carry. That photo, the only photo they have together. And I don't think you can oversell the influence, right? Kirk Ferentz said he's the most influential person on my life outside of my family. The drills we ran on the blacktop in high school, we still run. And then he got me into college coaching at Pitt. He got me in with Hayden Fry. And he said it changed everything. Everything.
for me. And we appreciate that. Is a photo from his office, and he shared it with us. And we're grateful to be able to share.
Yeah, they're in the sideline of an iconic high school football game in Pittsburgh. Central Catholic and Woody High. That's Woodland Hill. Central Catholic, of course, where Dan Marino went to high school. It's kind of cool to hear the history, to your point, the influence. Here we are now, so many years later. Great success influenced by football.
.2:14 remaining. 4th down and short. And so Drew Stevens, one of the most fun days of his career, will continue as he steps out to try and make another field goal. He's 4 of 4 today, 27, 49, 50, and 54. He's going to try and make it 5 of 5 on the afternoon. And he does. And that ties a school record. 5 made field goals in a game. It's only happened once other in 2004 at Iowa. Good day for the Hawkeyes today. I know what they're going to be watching on BTN Plus later.
Oh, yeah.
Iowa State wrestling. Drew Stevens, 5 of 5 today, ties a program record. First Iowa kicker with 2 made field goals of 50 yards or more since 1998.
You know what has stood out to me today here in this 29-13 game? Iowa, they often say, hey, we want to be smart, tough, physical, and together. And amid a season that's had some ups and downs, they've remained connected. And today is a beautiful example of that, with quarterback been out a couple weeks. You're down your 4th stringer, top corner doesn't make the trip. Your right tackle's not playing. They've remained connected.
Josiah McLaren is back deep to return for the first time for Maryland, and he sparks something. And Drew Stevens, the kicker, 5 of 5, and he rides McLaren out of bounds. That's how you know the kicker's feeling good, when he goes full Jay Higgins.
Check out this return. Really nice job of just finding a lane, being crafty. Look at that, Stevens. He starts the tackle inbound, which is why there was no flag. A little bit of juice.
I think he's expressing a smile in there, too.
He's going to be up for every award after this weekend's performance, too. Tag on a tackle, and oh man, might have it on lock.
Look at that.
Little takedown, like
on the arm.
A little wrestling takedown right there. Look at that. Right on cue.
MJ Morris, QB2 today, and done a lot of good things. Here's Roman Hemby. Tough situation against this defense. And so Maryland, they needed to win today to try and get to a 4th straight bowl. And as we hit the 2-minute timeout, that gives Ruben Hippolyte 2 more minutes as a Maryland football player in this stadium.
Iowa in control, now just 2 minutes away from picking up a 7th win on the season. We'll get you back to College Park for the finish between the Hawkeyes and Terps in just a bit. First, Rick Pizzo in our studio reminding you, coming up next here on the Big Ten Network, it is the battle for bowl eligibility. Luke Fickell let OC Phil Longo go earlier this season. So what does it mean this week for Wisconsin in terms of play calling? Nebraska has a similar storyline going on. Kickoff in Lincoln, less than 30 minutes away. Guy, Yogi?
There's Billy Edwards Jr. watching on. The starting quarterback today dealt with a thumb, had to leave, come back, and was in a big collision, went back into the tent. And MJ Morris has come in, thrown a couple touchdown passes, got Maryland in this game. Roman Hemby, mentioned it earlier, Yogi, that Billy Edwards is coming back next year. Had a meeting with head coach Mike Loxley. They talked about the future, but he did walk today as part of the senior ceremonies. He said there's so many guys part of this huge senior class that meant so much of this program. I wanted to be out there with them. Morris. Llewellyn tracks him down. Third sack of the day for the Iowa defense.
And the edge group for Kirk Ferentz's squad has just continued to rise up. I mean, they've been relatively in the backfield all game long. Maryland's tried to pass it. They've tried to chip, whether it's Llewellyn, whether it's Hawkeyes. I mean, so many of those guys coming off the edge have made an impact today.
You know, we talked about at the top of the show, this program, speaking of Iowa, the last 6 years, they come in today 19-3 in the month of November. They're going to improve to 20-3 in November since 2019. They're going to snap a 3-game losing streak coming off the bye. And, I mean, just look at this. The postseason on the horizon. You want to be at your best right now.
And I'll tell you what, to me, the jump they made, I mean, they had 15 missed tackles against UCLA on defense. And you could argue they were going up against a more explosive offense today, #1 passing offense statistically in the Big Ten. And they shut it down. But they did not give up a lot. They did not give up a lot of explosive plays down the field. 0 passing plays from Maryland over 15 yards today. Only 3 rushing plays for a very explosive unit. And I just go to, you see that graphic, and every team preaches finish. It's hard to do it. And the finish of Iowa, and I think the style of play, the DNA traits of this program, they showed out today. It was next man up. It was win the line of scrimmage. Don't give up big plays, bend but don't break, and just continue to lean on it. And then, boom, you break an explosive run for a big touchdown in the second half from Kamari Moulton. I mean, overall, just a really complete game. And for Mike Loxley, frustration. I know he'll stay optimistic. That's just who he is and what this program is. And I think for Maryland, #1, give the seniors the props, right? They laid the foundation for that, man. And now as college football transitions again after next week for this program, they'll be in a good position to make their next strategic move regarding recruiting.
Yeah, the big picture for Maryland, they've won 3 straight bowl games. They're not going to go to the postseason this year. We know that Iowa is headed to the bowl season for the 12th straight year, the 23rd in the last 24. And they're looking like any Iowa team that's ever dominated on the ground. 58 rushes today, career high 35 from the Doak Walker semifinalist Caleb Johnson. 164 yards on the ground for him and a 29-13 win.
Overall for Iowa, proud of this performance coming on the road. For Billy Edwards and company, you're frustrated, but you'll take all these incredible relationships from senior day throughout the remainder of your not only sporting life, but the entirety of your life. Hard to hear now, but for Caleb Johnson, what a performance. And for Jackson Stratton, in your first career start, walk-on. I don't know how much longer he'll be a walk-on, because it was pretty impressive today. Discernment, decision-making, bounce back from negatives overall. The script was executed to near perfection for Iowa.
Ty Felton gave it his best on senior day. 2 touchdowns for one of the all-time greats in the Maryland program history. But it's hard to beat an Iowa ground game when it's rolling. Coming up at 3:30, it's Nebraska and Wisconsin. But next, we send you back to Chicago in the studio.
Can't overstate